What's happening? Oh, salute to my man Innate Ways, man, in the building. Early. Salute. Mm. Get them Lincolns to the ox pocket. That's it. Yeah, salute, man. Salute, man. Appreciate it, man. Oh. Mm, mm, mm. Salute the stunner, man. Stunner in the building, man. He said those that donate and those that don't. And I must say though, we got a lot of people that donate to the we got a lot of people that donate to Ock Nation, man. It'd be nice to see some new names every show, some new people, because I know we got new people every show. And combined with the consistent donators, some new donators, adding on to the people consistently donating, so we can take this thing to the next level. That'd be nice, man. Appreciate all you guys, though, man. Oh, man, I tell you, man. Woo. Oh, what's up, everybody? Mm, Jason R. Day, 37, who only learned to read and write when he was 18 and could not speak until he was 11, has become Cambridge University's youngest black professor. Wow. Wow. Salute, man. Salute, man. Chasing our day, man. He's a highly respected scholar of race, inequality, and education. Yet at 3 years old, he was diagnosed with global development delay and autism spectrum disorder. He did not learn to speak until he was 11. All right. Next month, he will take up the role of professor of sociology of education at Cambridge, joining just 155 black professors in the UK. And he hopes his extraordinary story will inspire others from underrepresented backgrounds to progress to higher education. Salute. Salute, man.
How old are you?
35.
And now this is theater. I mean, it's obvious. How old are you?
35.
And you wear a bow tie.
Yeah, I do. I do.
So this is.
No, I know.
If you ever wondered why Tucker Carlson is.
Just look at this guy, man. He doesn't even look real. This guy doesn't look real. This guy looks like he was computer generated. This guy right here literally looks computer generated, man. He doesn't look like a real person, man. I ain't even gonna lie to you, man. He literally looks like he was computer generated.
Is the way that he is. Look no further than Jon Stewart's appearance on this 2004 episode of CNN's Crossfire.
Now listen, man. I don't believe that there's one way to be black. I think you can be black in a myriad of ways. You know what I'm saying? You can be a black person. There's no blueprint or there's no patent on being black. You can be black. You can be from anywhere. You can be from any background and be black. But come on, my G. This is what MSNBC is giving us, man.
Your partisan, what do you call it? Hacks.
Crossfire was a show that pit liberal Paul Begala against conservative Tucker Carlson, supposedly to debate politics.
To do a debate would be great, but that's like saying pro wrestling is a show about athletic competition. You're doing theater when you should be doing debate, which would be great.
No, it's
not honest. What you do is not honest. What you do is partisan hackery.
At this point in the episode, Tucker Carlson is very clearly upset and makes an attempt to fight back.
You have John Kerry on your show and you sniff his throne, and you're accusing us of partisan hackery?
Absolutely.
You've got to be kidding me.
You're on CNN. The show that leads into me is puppets making crank phone calls. What is wrong with you?
Well, what's it like to have dinner with you? It must be excruciating. Do you like lecture people like this, or do you come over?
Yes, they do. That's what they do. Yes, Tucker. That's what they do, man. They lecture you. That's what they do.
Their house and sit and lecture them, and they're not doing the right thing, that they're missing their opportunities, evading their responsibilities.
If I think they are.
After a while, Paul and Tucker attempt to end the show, which is when on national television this happens.
I do think you're more fun on your show. Just my opinion.
But
John Stewart goes one-on-one with his fans.
You're as big a on your show as you are on any show.
So Jon Stewart went on Crossfire to confront partisan hackery, but inadvertently created a monster. Tucker Carlson is more to the right and more of a reactionary than ever before, and for what it's worth, it's very clear that he still hates Jon Stewart.
So that's why he's the way he is. Oh, okay. That explains it. Thanks for putting it in a nice little bow for us, CGI guy.
Jon Stewart? The famous Jon Stewart looks like a homeless mental patient. He's shrieking and disheveled and very short.
Now, this is theater. I mean, it's...
He called him very short. Oregon murder suspect dashes out of courtroom during jury selection. Cops later find him hiding under a blanket in an empty apartment. My man got out of the courtroom and got away. Salute, man. Hey, hats off, man. Hats off, man. He got out of the courtroom and was found in an apartment. They would have found me at McDonald's, man. Or found me at Burger King. They were like, murder suspect found at Burger King, man. Nah, they wouldn't have found me at Burger. I'd have probably went to, I might have went to Pizza Hut or something.
When I tell niggas I'm really having my way in here, you heard? That's what I mean. Hey, yo, Brandon, what's your position, gang?
Shit, I wash his bowls and dishes.
Hey, yo, what's your position, Nico?
I do his laundry.
What's your position, Dylan?
I clean his room.
Stop playing with my body, y'all. Nah, for real.
Staten Island inmate punked 3 dudes into being his slaves. So this is in prison and jail in Staten Island, man. I didn't know Staten Island had their own jail. I thought they were the Rikers Island. They may have their own, as it is separate. It is kind of like far from New York, so maybe they have their own jail down there. I didn't know that. This guy has enslaved 3 gliders, man. He's enslaved 3 gliders. I'm gonna let y'all come up, man. I'm gonna drop the link, man. This guy has enslaved 3 gliders in prison, man, and made them his slaves. Real life Oz, man. And he's going online about it, man. Real life Oz out here. And how you get a cell phone, man? What are you doing with a cell phone, man? How you... Never mind. It's 2023. I forgot, man. 2023, anything goes, man. I'm learning that in 2023, you got to take these news stories. Well, that's what we do. Anyway, let me say. We do that anyway, man. We break them down, man. We compartmentalize. There's so much going on, man. So much going on in these stories, man. We break them down, man. Break them down and compartmentalize them, man. You can't just watch it as one whole story, man. It'd be nice if you could. There's so much, so much going on, so many questions, man. So many questions, man. Fishermen, man. A fisherman in the building, man. Fishermen in the building, man. What's up, fisherman?
I did a good thing today.
You said what?
I did a good thing today.
Oh wow, what's that?
I executed 2 biracials because they're the worst people on the planet, and they all need to be executed. I gave some potted plants to some homeless sun people.
Man, you out here doing it big, man.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, man. Salute to you, man. You the best person. You actually you're the best person in the world, man. Um, there's nobody better than you for those 2 deeds right there. Golly, man. Wow. What do you think about this gang member right here? In prison, this son gang member. He went live to show you guys like how he's living in prison and how he's punked these 3 guys into being his slaves. Now listen, of course, he has gang behind him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude. Those gliders are outnumbered. What?
Yeah.
Probably 9 or 10 to 1.
Yeah. So he's using his he's using well, it can't be racism because you can't. Yeah, he don't have no power, but he's using bigotry or what?
When I tell niggas I'm really having my way in here, you heard? That's what I mean. Hey, yo, Brandon, what's your position, gang?
Shit, I wash his bowls and dishes.
Hey, yo, what's your position, Nico?
I do his laundry.
What's your position, Dylan?
I clean his room.
This is so ugly, man. This is so ugly, and this ain't gonna go viral. Gliders ain't smart enough to share this. Like y'all are so dumb. Y'all too dumb to share this, man. Like mass share it. You know what I'm saying? Like this should be shared by every single glider because it shows you what's really going on in this country. This may be prison, right? This may be jail, but these guys are still human beings, man. And if one of the COs, if this guy spit in the CO's face and the CO jacked him up, he'd be they'd be down to activists would be down at the jail talking about look how they treating us like animals. Insane, man. Unbelievable. What do you think about this, fisherman?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, gliders. I've been having this struggle with gliders my whole life, trying to get them to actually live in reality and stop having this weird, like, self-flagellating, like, backwards. The nicer we are, the better it'll be mentality, and it's all wrong.
Yeah, it may work like that with other groups. It definitely don't work like that.
No, it works with other gliders, particularly. It does not work with some people at all. 0% of the time will that ever lead to a successful outcome.
Yeah, no. Salute to Amber C, man, coming through. And my man Nate Wade's coming through again, man. Salute, man. Yeah, man. This is ugly, man. I don't think you hard. I don't think you cool. Because I know you wouldn't do this to these men on the street. Well, he could probably rob them or do street crime, but if no gun was involved on the street, all he would do was be a big mouth trying to make a big scene and trying to like, you know what I'm saying, like this guy right here. This guy right here is like a foot taller than him.
Stop playing with my body, y'all. Nah, for real. When I tell niggas I'm really having my way in here, you heard? That's what I mean. Hey, yo, Brandon, what's your position, gang?
Shit, I wash his bowls and dishes.
Hey, yo, what's your position, Nico?
I do his laundry.
What's your position, Dylan?
That guy sound a little slow too.
I clean his room.
Damn. Wow. They bringing slavery back, man. God, dog. And bringing it to the internet, bragging about it. you know, and then taking the dignity, man. This guy, something bad gonna happen to this guy, man, one day, because something bad happens to everybody. Not because of karma, but just because bad things happen to everybody. Something bad gonna happen to this guy one day, and he gonna want to play the victim. I promise you.
Yeah, he got that big ego on him, and that shit don't fly very long, especially around other Sunmen.
Yeah. He bragging and he think he top shit. Yeah. I don't believe karma in a lot of situations. I just believe.
Yeah, I question that a lot too, because you see a lot of pieces of shit do nothing but winning.
Yeah, I just believe that it's just he, like you said, Sunman, man. Like he can't remain around Sunmen for a long period of time and nothing bad happen, especially prison where it's like the bad ones. So something bad is going to happen to him eventually, and he's going to be crying a victim, or even a CO may do something to him. But this is just so ugly, man. This is you taking these guys' dignity. Think about it. For them to have to stand back there, and then think about how much abuse. Like it's like this. You ever seen those elephants like ride tricycles or something? And you know what I'm saying? Or like they got an elephant juggling with his his trunk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or a monkey, like, you know what I'm saying, in a suit walking on a tightrope. Do you understand how much whipping and fucking practice and admonishing it takes to get that fucking monkey to wear a suit and walk a tightrope while juggling? It takes a whip to do that, a stick upside the head. So for these guys to be standing back there at attention and to not move till he says so, and to imagine the amount of abuse it took to get them to this point.
Stop playing with my body, y'all. Nah, for real. When I tell niggas I'm really having my way in here, you heard? That's what I mean. Hey, yo, Brandon, what's your position, gang?
Shit, I wash his bowls and dishes.
Hey, yo, what's your position, Nico?
I do his laundry.
What's your position, Dylan?
I clean his room.
Stop playing with my body, y'all. Nah, for real.
When some men get power, man, we are some of the worst people on the planet when we get power, man. I mean, we are terrible. That's why I always tell you guys, like, if we had y'all enslaved, y'all we would have never let y'all free. I'm talking about never. You heard me say that before, right, Fisherman?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it would be the most brutal, animalistic shit you could. Like, that's what I'm saying, Ak, when I talk to gliders. I'm like, y'all don't understand the alternative reality that you are acquiescing to. Because there ain't no trains, there ain't no planes, there ain't no running water. You're going to drink from a puddle and you're going to get beaten to death. Like, you don't understand what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And they don't take it serious. They literally think it's going to be like some multicultural Wakanda. It's like, you are the dumbest motherfuckers in the history of evolution.
Nah, man, it's going to be grunt work, back-breaking work until you die. And then it's going to be like fucking shame, like this right here. They're going to shame you, and you don't have no dignity. Like, this thing about this guy's under people. This guy is, look, at fucking 4:30, that's breakfast. Then back to your cell. And then you may get some rec time. And then back to your cell. And then lunch is at, I think, 11 or 10, something like that. And then there's some rec time, then back to your cell. There are people that come and toss his cell randomly. Because, in jail, Like they may just wake everybody up one day. Hey, everybody out your cell. And you all got to sit down, Indian style in the day room. And they go around and I mean, when I say toss your cell, they just basically flip everything. Flip yourself. And you come back to your cell. Everybody come back to their cell and papers are everywhere. All your belongings are strewn all over the place. The beds, sheets are off. They just basically just went in there like the Tasmanian devil. And they call it looking for like weapons or whatever, looking for contraband. But really what they do is just destroy your cell. And this guy right here is under the thumb of that. And this is what he's managed to do while being under the thumb of that. He's managed to oppress other people. Well, he's not being oppressed by the prison guards. He's being housed in a penal facility. But just think about that. He's managed to enslave 3 people in that. You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying, Fisherman? In that dynamic.
Right.
It's crazy, man.
I mean, I'm kind of skeptical of any type of stuff posted online, but given the fact that these guys are going to be vastly outnumbered and probably very ill prepared to deal with this shit, I wouldn't doubt this being real.
Oh no, this is real, Jack. Sunman brag like, listen, this is real. This ain't fake. Ain't nobody gonna do this in jail where it's survival of the fittest, where it's dog eat dog. Nobody gonna do no prank like this. This is real, Jack. This is real. Them guys ain't gonna do that if they didn't have to do it. Ultimately, they really have to do that. If he wanted them to fucking hop on one foot and touch their nose and spin around singing fucking goddamn The Wind Beneath My Wings backwards, they would do it. Because I'm telling you, man, this guy's got a gang behind him. He has.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if they jumped him at any point over this shit, they got to worry about every other motherfucker in the clique.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, Fisherman, is that there's already been the fear of God instilled.
Oh yeah, all these dudes have been checked and whipped in the showers and behind a closed door somewhere. Yeah, all these dudes have been checked.
Yeah, jumping him is not even crossing their mind. Like that's not even a thought, man. They're not even thinking about that right now. They just want to get away. Want to get away. Shit. Salute to Paula S, man. She says, greetings all to all the nation. Salute, man. Yeah, he could make them twerk. Oh, yeah, he could make them twerk, pop it like it's hot. He can make them twerk like Lizzo right now. He loves this power. Wow. Sunman, insane, man. Jesus Christ, man. Whew.
See, like 99% of gliders don't understand that this type of reality exists in the country that they live in.
Yeah. They
like all the social hierarchies and dynamics that exist within the Sun community, whether in public or in prison, is completely foreign to 90+% of gliders.
Wow.
They don't understand it at all.
That is scary, man. Like, because they claim to be know-it-alls. They claim to, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you hear them talk on TikTok or whatever, or, you know what I'm saying? They claim to, like, know us so well. Link in the description. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, they just talk like they understand us so well. If you talk to, especially liberals, it's just like, oh, they're like this. Oh, they do this. Oh,
yeah. All they've been around is, like, some liberal educated sons that don't even fit into normal Sun environments.
Sons that can't hang with other sons, or sons
the sons that were ostracized from the stand.
Exactly. Then they don't even understand that their son friends are lames, what you would call lames.
Like when I would hang out with my son friends in school, and it's like they gotta steal something in every single fucking store we go into. That kind of behavior is completely foreign to 99% of gliders.
Yeah,
it's like the gliders I work with. You know, most of them did not grow up around Sun people. And so when I tell them like the shit that, you know, I would see my Sun friends do, they just can't fathom. Like they steal stuff from every store. What do you mean? I mean,
Yeah,
every
like
time
every store.
every Dollar General, every fucking gas station, some shits,
Something.
they're walking out with something.
Yeah,
Period.
even if it's not like something that it doesn't have to be something you need. It just has to be something just to,
Candy, a drink, some earrings, some fucking bracelet that ain't worth shit.
yeah, something. That's true. I definitely was like that. I definitely stole out of every store I went into. I stole out of even not even stores. I stole out of every place that I went to that wasn't like a home. I never really stole out of people's houses, but I stole out of every place that I went to. Like one time we were at the hospital. I forgot why we were there. I think my stepfather had some kind of surgery or something. Me and my cousin, we were there with the family, and we stole like a bunch of like hospital supplies, like tubing and like all types of like clamps and shit they had, and we just stole that shit. We never even fucking needed it or you knew what the fuck it was. We just stole that shit because we just it was there. We was in a room and nobody was there, and there was drawers there, and we was going through the drawers. We just started taking shit. It was just like that, yeah, man. But I think that you, I feel bad for you, Gladys, because it's like it's getting worse every day. Um, it's getting worse every like something like that. What we just saw though, fisherman, that doesn't work the same way with other people. When we see that, especially the street element or the pookie element or the element that we speak about, they see that and they're like, "Oh, I want that." You know what I mean?
It's blood in the water.
Yeah, but not necessarily from those guys, but just some you want your own. When you go to jail, you want to make your TikTok video showing how many slaves, white slaves you got. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's just it's a constant ego flex at the expense of everybody else.
Yeah.
They can never be satiated.
Nah, ever, never. Stunner says, "Did the first Gladys say he washes his balls?" That's what I thought he said. And the second one said he washes laundry. I was like, "You mean you wash his drawers? You wash that guy's shitty fucking shit stained drawers, man." That's what you meant to say. Um, yeah, man, that's a big thing. Somebody washing your drawers amongst the sun, man, in prison, man. It's a big thing. Somebody washing your drawers, they get a kick out of that, man. When somebody wash their drawers. Um, uh, salute, man. Salute to Cy Bane, man. Cy Brain. Hi, Op. Just wanted to let you know I've been lurking subscriber since the car days. Oh wow. Did you have a different name? You must have had a different name back then. Lurking subscriber since the car days, and I mean since before the truth of Breonna Taylor Part 1. Wow. Yeah, man. You talking about 2019 or 2018, maybe. Wow. Salute to you, Cybraid, man.
9 armed robberies in just 3 days. Chicago police now putting out a community alert warning for people to be on guard on the north and west sides.
CBS 2's Aswell Razai is live near Belmont and Clark, where one of those victims was robbed early this morning. Aswell.
Yeah, so it happened, we're learning, as that victim stepped out of an Uber right here and stepped onto the sidewalk. As soon as he did that, he was surrounded by at least 4 men. It would be one of 4 robberies within just 3 hours.
The predatoriness, man. I mean, like, you can't have both, man. You can't have systematic oppression. You can't have I'm a target. You can't have I can't you can't have all of the bullshit they talk about
It's literally like they claim systematic oppression. It's literally the opposite. It is pandering to a degree that a Sun Man would never experience under any Sun Man controlled environment.
Right. Exactly. Or any Sun Sandman. Or
Yeah, anybody. The gliders have created an environment for the Sun Man that no other group, including other Sun Men, would ever create.
Yeah.
Surveillance video from a store on the corner shows the moment a crew of robbers pulls up in this dark SUV. It's hard to see through the snow in the dark alley, but doors open and close. Within 30 seconds, they speed off. The victim's friend says he wasn't hurt, but they took his luggage, a backpack, a work laptop, and his wallet and cell phone.
That was a nice haul. His luggage, work backpack, who knows what was in there? Laptop, cell phone. That was a nice haul, man. I mean, for 4 guys, I mean, if you put the little cell phone you sell it, or if you put it in that little machine where they drop the cell phone, that's $100. The laptop, you can probably sell it on the black market for a couple $100. The contents of the bag, maybe you know he got some drip in there or something. Let's just say it's $400 they got out of that, $100 a piece. If you're doing like constantly doing that, you know, boom, 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 boom all day long. I mean, how many of you guys make $100 a day at your job? How many of you guys make $400 a day at your job with no taxes? This is very lucrative, man.
Getting out of an Uber, he took maybe about 5 steps, and all of a sudden there was an SUV parked right here. About 4 or 5 men came out, and they just kind of surrounded him.
4 or 5 men. Do you understand that if you cut in line at a Target in front of a black guy, and he recorded it, and it went viral, and the news reported on it, you would be described as a white man. A white man used his privilege to take liberties upon a black man's personal space and his You would be called a white man.
There was an SUV parked right here. About 4 or 5 men came out, and they just kind of surrounded him and just told him, you know, give me all your stuff. I don't think they held him at gunpoint, but it was just more so of like, you know, flashing of their weapons.
Chicago police issuing this community alert with a list of 9 addresses.
Let's see if they got it in there. Anywhere. Nope, I don't see the B word. Nope.
Is where similar armed robberies have happened since Wednesday. Detectives say they are related, and at least 2, the victims, were hit in the head.
It's upsetting. I want better for our area. I'm crime.
Where's the anger, man? I mean, and I'm not even seeing like miffed. He ain't even miffed. You know what I'm saying?
It's more of like a malaise or like a fatigue from constantly being put in these scenarios and constantly knowing in the back of their mind that they can't say the whole truth. It's like it gets to the point where it's like, why are you even fucking asking me anymore? Like, why are we going through this sort of like ritualistic bullshit to pretend like we don't know what the fucking issue is?
You know, crime's a thing in every city, but it's upsetting that it's you know, we have the statistics that we do, and you know, you just always have to look over your shoulder, you know, be aware when you're out.
Now, police are asking people to be
I'm gonna tell you something about glider body language.
Okay.
Every time you see a glider giving these interviews and they pause and they just stare off, they're thinking hard R. The hard R is screaming in their mind. Just FYI.
Let me see, man.
I want better for our area.
Right there.
Crime's a thing in every city, but it's upsetting that it's you know, we have the statistics that we do, and you just always have to look over your shoulder, and, be aware when you're out.
Now, police are asking people to be extra alert, especially as we're heading into a very busy weekend. They say right now the investigation is ongoing, and so far no one is in custody. Live and
no one is in custody. God, dog, 9 robberies in 3 days. Same group, same MO. No one in custody, man. God, dog. All right, let's do this one.
New tonight, 11 Alive just obtained a copy of the lawsuit filed by a grieving family against Simon Property Group and Dave & Buster's. This comes after a Jefferson High School football player was shot and killed at Sugarloaf Mills Mall. The family.
Remember this one, Fisherman?
Yeah. Yeah, he shot him with his girl over some weed.
Yeah, exactly.
Mall. The family accuses the companies of not doing enough to protect people at the mall. Harris Belger spoke.
So they're suing the mall for not doing enough to protect people. There's no way you can protect people.
There's nothing you can do. What else can you do? Like armed security on every corner. It doesn't fucking matter.
No sun teens without chaperones. They tried that. They shut the mall down early. They tried that. They fucking goddamn patrols through the fucking parking lot. Cameras everywhere. All types of shit. Chaperone. You gotta have a chaperone. They've done everything they can reasonably without shutting the mall down. Then maybe that's what they're saying. But if you just didn't have the mall, none of this shit would happen.
The family accuses the companies of not doing enough to protect people at the mall.
Harris Belger spoke to Elijah DeWitt's family about the lawsuit as a suspect was arraigned in this case today.
It was an emotional day for Dawn and Craig DeWitt as the teen accused of killing their son, Elijah, went before a judge.
As you count for, how do you plead?
Chandler Richardson is charged with murder. So is his co-defendant, Kamari Bryan. Gwinnett County Police say the pair shot DeWitt outside of the Dave & Buster's at the Sugarloaf Mills Mall last October. DeWitt's family told 11 Alive they not only want Richardson and Bryan to be held.
Look at this guy's parents, man. What was he doing around these sons with some weed, man? I guess, everybody wants to buy a little weed or something, but just Scott Adams, man. I mean, Scott Adams, man.
Well, I mean, he was a high profile athlete. He had son friends. That's just how it goes.
Well, definitely, he's playing football. Yeah, he's playing football in the Atlanta area. He definitely got son friends. No, he's a popular guy. He was recruit a big recruit. I think he was going Arkansas State. I think that's where he was. He had just signed his committed to Arkansas State, something like that, and God, dog.
Those bullets don't care.
Its family told 11 Alive they not only want Richardson and Bryan to be held accountable, they're also suing Simon Property Group, which owns the mall and oversees the Dave & Buster's.
That's our ultimate goal, is to make sure you or no one else ever has to get a call that their child is shot and they do not come home.
Their lawsuit alleges the companies knew this was a high crime area, but failed to take adequate security measures.
Okay, so she's asking them to profile. Because who's doing all the crime? Who's doing 99.8% of the crime? She's asking them to profile. She's asking them when I walk up to, like, what does she want to do? Stop and frisk?
Yeah, hey, sir, what are you doing here? Oh, out comes the cell phone.
Like, what are they?
It's a lose-lose no matter what you do.
Yeah, this is just insane, man. I just don't understand, man, what she wants. Defendants negligently, so she's talking the mall, negligently failed to maintain a policy, procedure, or system of investigating, reporting, and warning of aforementioned criminal activity. What is she talking about, man? There's no way you can stop this stuff without these guys had criminal records, so if they had been prosecuted and sentenced properly, that's the only thing you could have done. The cops had already arrested these guys a bunch of
Do
times.
not come home.
Their lawsuit alleges the companies knew this was a high crime area, but failed to take adequate security measures.
It's about Elijah, but it's also about keeping other members of our community safe, other people who go to malls and shopping centers and Dave & Buster's.
And the family believes the companies should have alerted the public about safety concerns, saying if they had been aware, they would not have allowed their son to go there.
And he would have gone anyway because he's a teen kid. He's comfortable. 80% of his teammates are fucking Sun teens. He's around Sun teens all the time in the controlled environment of this is it's different being around Sun teens on the football team, in practice, and in school, and This was the wild. He was around Sun teens in the wild, man. It wasn't like nobody had to answer the coach, man.
Saying if they had been aware, they would not have allowed their son to go there.
What is it that prevents crime? Let's find that out. Let's make sure that we maximize the place that we
His glider mind can't compute. He's just lost.
Oh shit! This is a tragedy. I feel bad for this kid. This kid's story.
I mean, he might as well try to fly a kite in a tornado. With that pussyfoot answer.
Paula says, "Salute, fishermen. We caught 36 crappie today. They're spawning." Are you a fisher? You a real fisherman?
Yeah, I know what he's talking about.
Okay.
I wonder what lake that's in.
That was a she. That was Paula.
Hmm.
Okay. So
Say what lake that's in the chat.
Yeah, Paula, tell them what lake you got these crappies
And
at.
what you caught them on.
is it that,
Yeah.
To go there.
what is it that prevents crime? Let's find that out. Let's make sure that we maximize the place that we're sending our children.
I've reached out to Simon Property Group and Dave & Buster's about the family's allegations, but we haven't been able to verify yet whether in fact there were other crimes reported at that location.
Police are investigating after a person was seen pulling down a candidate's campaign signs. The same thing happened to another candidate. With the first city election in less than 2 weeks, some candidates say their signs are being destroyed. News Projection reporter Janice Harris is here with more on this. Janice?
Joy, this has happened to two separate candidates in the last couple of days. They hope whoever is targeting their signs
It's definitely Democrats.
will stop.
It's March 7th at 5:45 in the morning, and someone appears in front of the Jacksonville Association of Firefighters building. A couple of seconds later, you see a person take down a sign for Jacoby Pittman.
When you saw the video footage of it, what were your thoughts? I was really taken back because, it's a federal crime.
Jew apostrophe Kobe.
To take campaign materials. And, it's really about integrity, that someone would take someone else's property and destroy it and vandalize it, especially at the firefighters' facility.
A similar thing happened to Tyrona Clark Murray on the same day.
Tyrona. Oh God. Hello, Sam.
Nigger.
She getting bad.
I was like, there's no fucking way.
Yeah, there's no way that Tyrona.
March
facility.
A similar thing happened to Tyrona Clark Murray on the same day, March 7th. This time, a person was seen taking down a campaign sign off of a daycare on Edison Street. Clark Murray got a call about the incident.
We have footage of someone ripping down your sign.
Clark Murray didn't believe what had happened.
I was like, you have got to be kidding me, because it is the 7th sign that's been ripped down.
Clark Murray called the police and filed this report. According to the report, both of these incidents happened on the same day at around 5 in the morning. Police are investigating. In each
Sisters be calling the shit out the police, man. Police gotta fucking deal with this shit.
Police are investigating. In each incident, the candidates were given permission to post their signs on that specific property. They hope people stop removing signs on private property and allow for the campaign to be fair.
According to the supervisor of elections, if a neighbor has a sign in their yard, they can do that. But signs on public property are not allowed. Regarding the signs that were destroyed, that is an ongoing investigation.
Salute the Last Outlaw. I'm about to drop a diss track on Colin Kaepernick. If you want to collaborate on this, I have a few bars for your perspective. Hashtag Kaepernick. Yeah, man. Salute, man. I buy it, man. If you put it on Spotify, man, I'll stream it, man. Man, I tell you, man. These people, man.
Make sure you put some twang on it.
Yeah, man. Put a little twang on it, man. Damn, what did I just do with that fucking oh, here it is. Damn. Motherfucker. There we go. All right. There we go.
It is a hot button issue and one that's now up for debate in Tallahassee, and the outcome could determine where drag queens perform.
Tonight, drag performers were on stage in Tampa raising money for a trip to the Capitol where they plan to protest a bill that they believe will restrict their rights. And News Channel 8's Justin Checker.
Hold on, let me get this person that's gonna call me a nigger out the way right quick. Go ahead. Who is this? Jamie? These people are fucking crazy, man. Ew, they're nasty, man. These people are disgusting, man. If I don't know your name, you're not coming up on today's show, man. If I don't know your name, you're not coming up. If I don't know your name, you're not coming up.
They're out lurking tonight.
Yeah, they out there, man. They'll be sitting there just a regular person, and then as soon as you these people are insane, man.
That's what I tell people in my family. It's like, you see that average person on the street, you don't know what the fuck that person's about. It's like this glider mentality of like, oh, everyone's nice, and if you're nice, then they'll be nice back, and everyone can trust everybody. Like, fuck no.
Oh, they come home and do shit like this.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know what the fuck people do.
Yeah, it's just, and to have that type of content on your computer, man, it's just like, God. Like,
And to be so bored to do shit like that, like, fucking read a book.
Like, what do you get out of that? Like, we don't even know you, so you're anonymous, and you did that, so you don't even get credit for it. It's just weird.
Super low IQ bored people.
Salute the last. Oh, okay, last. Oh, we already read that. So yeah, don't even think about coming up if I don't know your name.
He's live at the Cityside Lounge in Tampa with more.
Stacey and Keith, good evening to you both. Local drag queens tell me their voices need to be heard in Tallahassee. They say they're worried Republican lawmakers could introduce even more restrictions on what's already in the proposed law.
We want to make sure that people have a good time and we're not out to hurt anyone.
Casey Stars has performed in drag.
Jesus Christ.
Like the World War II guys on the fucking boats heading towards Normandy. And now this shit.
Jesus Christ. What in the God's earth makes you take your child. Why do you have to take your child to see this guy before? Listen, man, I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. I don't get it. Like, some of this stuff I get, like I can get the whole gay thing, like you like guys, okay, and you're sexually attracted to guys. That's fine. I can understand that. You don't like girls, you like guys. I can even get like the well, I don't get the lesbian thing. Like you
The
like
lesbian, gay, and bi. That's about as far as I can tolerate.
Bi, you like girls and guys. The parent who takes their child to this, I just don't fucking get it, man. The parent who says, "Hey, hun, don't forget we have Drag Queen Story Hour Wednesday at 5, so don't schedule anything. Keep your schedule open." And then like he's like rushing home from work. He's like, "Boss, I gotta leave earlier on a Wednesday because I got something to do with the fam." And then like he like leaves work early that day, goes picks them up. They got the kids all suited and booted. They get in the car, they drive here. They find parking. They put money in the meter. They unbuckle the kids, get them out of their seats. They walk them to this place and they sit down and then they watch this shit with their kids. What the
And they got it, and then they got to pretend like his fucking ball sack didn't fall out halfway through the damn thing.
What the fuck?
It's mostly like single mom glider women that take their kids to this shit.
Fabian in the building, man. What's up, Fabian?
Hey, how's it going?
Ain't nothing, man. I'm hanging, man.
Yeah.
What TED Talk we gonna get tonight?
Oh man, don't get me started, man. I'm just gonna.
I'm ready. I'm ready, dude.
I mean, you you caught me at the Drag Queen Story Hour moment. That's a whole can of worms, man.
Oh yeah.
But you notice how
can of dicks.
The demographic that you mentioned, women, single mothers, etc. All of the causes and stuff that they claim to be passionate about when they make their voices heard in various capacities. You notice one thing, that they never have an original thought about any of it. They just repeat shit. And I think that's part of kind of the key to the psychology behind it.
Conformist.
Yeah, but it's incentivized. There's something about, I think, especially female psychology that makes them particularly susceptible to jumping at these kinds of signals. You know, when the kind of the source of power and status shows them the way to behave in order to be thought well of.
Right.
And they'll pretty much jump at anything. And I think the Drag Queen Story Hour is kind of an emblem of how far this can be pushed, you know? Like these women can be convinced to do anything and even subject their children to it if they're made to feel that this is the way to be in good standing with the power structure.
Right. This is virtuous. So, I mean, you could tell them that like microwaving a banana is virtuous, and they would all be microwaving a banana.
If the signal was formulated properly and came from the right source, absolutely.
Yeah.
You could tell. Yeah. They would put the microwave banana in their kid's butt. They would. There's no limit.
They have no self-awareness, and they're blindly trusting authority.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I think it's kind of a part of how women evolved to act in society, the role that they kind of evolved as the sort of enforcers of popular morality. The problem is that the general sense of morality within a community usually came from people who held power, usually men who held power, and used it for the actual good of the society. But when the people who hold power in your society are actually trying to undermine the well-being of the people in it, then it goes the opposite direction. You know, the women are manipulated into discharging their role as moral enforcers in a direction that's actually harmful.
And the thing too about female psychology is they lack accountability. And so their ego won't allow them to see that they're actually just leading society off a cliff.
Right. Well, and I mean, that has to do with an issue that we've talked about in regard to race as well, which is self-regulation. There are parts of society that are particularly well equipped to instill behavioral boundaries through types of regulation, and different populations regulate differently. Some populations require regulation in the form of brute force, and some are regulated through complex social institutions.
You mean some populations require brute force?
Generally speaking, which is to say that and one way that you check this and you notice this is that when brute force is not available in the environment to regulate their behavior is not regulated because they don't self-regulate. It's just a different cognitive traits.
But this is glider women doing this, man.
Yeah. So he's saying, this is sex instead of race, but there are similar structures in place. So we talk about the difference between.
Hold on, she's a glider woman. There's race.
Yeah. No, yes, but I'm saying that it's a similar relationship. There's race differences and there's sex differences, and he's saying that women
in the Sun community, the female equivalent of this is the mammy.
Sure, there's a female equivalent, but I'm saying glider women also don't self-regulate without the presence without a strong masculine presence around, and that's why it's been important to emasculate, to demasculinize men, so that they are not the ones that women are looking to for their cues as to what kind of morality, what kind of values, what kind of ethics to enforce. Men are swept aside in our society and denigrated, and femininity is pushed on men so that they can just be pushed out of the way as an influence, so the women can be influenced by other factors in the power structure instead to do shit like this.
Uncle Laughing Dog says Uncle Yuri B told us all about the zombie people in 1989. You gotta turn your TV off, baby.
Oh,
you can hear your TV.
It's actually it's a couple of drunk guys, but yeah.
Oh, you outside? Okay, all right.
We want to make sure that people have a good time and we're not out to hurt anyone.
Casey Stars has performed in drag for the past 15 years.
Most of my performances happen in a bar, so it's already illegal for children underage to be in that setting.
House Bill 1423 states it's an immediate serious danger to public health, safety, or welfare if a venue allows children to attend a drag show.
But more than that, I mean, while this bill focuses on ticketed entertainment, I think you're going to see the bill hopefully expand to include non-ticketed entertainment.
Republican State Representative Randy Fine from Brevard County is the bill's sponsor.
I don't understand why folks generally agree that children should not be taken to strip clubs, but they think children should be taken to clubs where men are dressed up like strippers.
I haven't even performed in front of kids. There are some queens that do that, and
my God, Jesus Christ, what the fuck is that, man?
That's probably an outright lie.
Yo, it looks like Cats. You ever see them play Cats?
Yeah, the movie or whatever.
Yeah, these look like they fucking characters in the movie in the play Cats, man.
And these people are mentally ill. Like, they need years of therapy to figure out what happened to them that caused this psychotic break, and then to think this is who they are.
Yo, he looks like the Beauty and the Beast character. Remember the real Beauty and the Beast? Remember when they had that real show back in the day, like in the late 80s? Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, Ron Perlman.
Yeah,
so you're talking about.
He looks literally like that guy.
Punches and things, but again, it's the parents' choice to be able to do that, and they're not taking their clothes off. Like, they are performing art.
Erica PC took the stage Thursday night at Tampa's Cityside Lounge during the fundraiser in support of Bay Area drag performers planning a peaceful protest in Tallahassee.
Know that we're people, and we need your help to
No one's saying you're not a person. Stop trying to shift it on some other bullshit. No one said you weren't a person, dickhead.
know that we're people. And we need your help to represent us. We vote for you. We pay our taxes. We have legitimate jobs.
Starr says she believes the proposed legislation in Florida and other states restrict the rights of drag performers to express themselves.
We just want you to know that this is so hurtful and so dehumanizing for all of us.
God.
And if this bill passes, state regulators will be able to issue fines and revoke business licenses for venues that admit children to drag shows. Organizers say they raised several $1,000s tonight to cover a hotel and transportation costs when the drag queens head to Tallahassee next week. Live in Tampa, I'm Justin Shecker, 8 on your side.
Shit, let me get to one of these stories, man, that I was wanting to cover tonight, man. Jesus Christ, man. What the hell is going on in this country?
Now to our top story, a massive brawl breaks out in an East Baton Rouge school. Students and parents getting in on the fight. Some were even arrested. Well, tonight the NAACP says it's investigating the actions of 2 deputies who responded to this confrontation, saying they were too rough.
Okay, so let's listen to this opening and just think about how fucking, like, this is you Gladys' fault. Listen to this opening, and if you're fucking got an IQ over fucking 75, this gotta fucking make you want to pull your fucking hair out.
Now to our top story, a massive brawl breaks out in an East Baton Rouge school. Students and parents getting in on the fight. Some were even arrested. Well, tonight the NAACP says it's investigating the actions of 2 deputies who responded to this confrontation, saying they were too rough with students. Fox 44.
What the fuck do you want them to do?
Oh my!
A massive brawl, including parents and kids, and you want them to treat the people with kid gloves.
Oh
I mean, it's a wonder they even tried to do anything at all with that many fucking people.
The NAACP, it's 200 black kids and their parents fighting. Cops come and the NAACP has a statement, but it's about the cops. It's not about the 200 black fucking people fighting kids and parents fighting.
Like every glider that hears that should be like, all right, NAACP no longer relevant to anything in my life. Like that is your rational, like if you hear your rational brain screaming that, trust it. It's not that you're racist. It's not that you're delusional. It's your glider mind firing the way it's supposed to be firing.
Well, per Castle Rock v. Gonzalez, the police have no duty to intervene. So how about just sit out there, let them beat each other to death, and then go in and
you want bodies, Johnny. You
get the bodies.
You need to go out and come back in. Your mic's jacked up, Josh. Jacked up.
Now to our top story.
Oh man, this is just insane, man. Jesus Christ. I don't know how she said this with a straight face.
Now to our top story, a massive brawl breaks out in an East Baton Rouge school. Students and parents getting in on the fight. Some were even arrested. Well, tonight the NAACP says it's investigating the actions of 2 deputies who responded to this confrontation, saying they were too rough with students. Fox 44's Jessica Knox takes us through what happened earlier today.
Instead of school buses at 8 Wednesday morning.
Look at that response, man. And they're mad at 2 deputies. Think about this. Look at this response to a school fight. And they're mad at 2 deputies. The only thing the NAACP has to say about this is that 2 of the people that responded were too rough. Explain that, Fabian, man. I'd like to get you to explain that, like how the psychology behind that and gliders putting up with it.
I actually I was distracted for a minute, so so you guys go ahead and I'll pick it up.
Okay, man.
morning, squad cars and ambulance were parked outside of East Baton Rouge Readiness Alternative High School.
My granddaughter was coming to school and they had some kids hiding in the bushes and they jumped out the bushes and they just
Crouching Negro.
started fighting.
The grandmother of one of the young ladies involved wanted to remain.
Look at all these fucking. So two of these guys. Look at all this. It's teeming with deputies. It could be 100 deputies and police officers there. There are 200 people fighting, adults and children. Through all that, the NAACP sifted out that 2 deputies were a little rough. You guys are so fucked, man. I don't know how you turn this around, man. Do you see a way to? Do you see a path where you can turn this around, Fisherman?
It's gonna be under circumstances where the country is not going to be anything like what it ever was. It's going to be a much more kind of, I guess, dumbed down version of what it was, with little enclaves of gliders that can establish their own rule of law. That's about the best I think gliders would come up with at this point. But the idea that like large scale institutions are all going to revert back to some sort of like glider rationale is, to me, too far gone.
Yeah, the central aspect of this kind of thing is the information, just, systems of information and because that's what the ACLU, is it the ACLU or NAACP you said?
NAACP.
Yeah, their whole thing, the fact that they can respond to this situation by critiquing saying that a couple of the officers went overboard is just because that is already the momentum of the kind of engineered thought space, that this is taking place in. And so the way that information is disseminated and the ways that people talk about it would have to change radically. Would just have to become honest for this kind of thing to change, because the NAACP can just say that and do that, and everybody will think that that is a rational and good and normal and virtuous thing to say, because people have already been pre-programmed to think that that's to have a worldview where that's just kind of what makes sense. That's what you are expected to think about these things. A bunch of Sun people are behaving violently, some kind of police force involved, and people are pre-programmed and conditioned to think about that situation in terms of the Sun people are innocent, the cops are doing something wrong. The reality of the situation doesn't matter, because the only thing that people are in general are going to think about it is what they're given to think about it.
Johnny Reb, is your mic all right?
Is that doing better? I've been having trouble with, I guess, the Wi-Fi connection.
No, you're doing good, man. Johnny Reb, man. Like, is there a path? Because this right here, to me, this story right here is like, if I was making the case of this shit is irreversible, this would be exhibit A, B, or C, one of them. Because look at all the black officers. This is a black town. The only
way to course correct is to completely dismantle the media that lies to everybody. And that's not likely to happen.
No.
Man, my God. Salute Genetic Freak. He says, salute, I can't lie. I'm effing with Fabian Freud. Let him cook. Salute to Eric S, man, coming through once again. Eric S is an Oc Nation All-Pro, man, coming through once again, man. Saverick says there's no path to turn it around through reasoning. Yeah, it's just bizarre, man.
And they had some kids
Squad cars and ambulance were parked outside of East Baton Rouge Readiness Alternative High School.
My granddaughter was coming to school and they had some kids hiding in the bushes and they jumped out the bushes and they just started fighting.
The grandmother of one of the young ladies involved wanted to remain anonymous. She says the large brawl started after two female students agreed to fight.
She said that they had been getting text messages on the phone stating that this incident will happen on today.
Things got out of hand when more than 200 people joined in, including parents. She says she is disappointed.
I'm just thoroughly upset because, this is something she could have talked to me about, and I'm just thinking that if she would have said something, we could have prevented some of this.
Our camera captured some students being taken out of school in handcuffs. Meanwhile, officers trying to de-escalate the fight. The scuffle ended with 8 students and 2 individuals charged, and 1 officer with a hip and head injury.
But we have made some arrests and we'll continue to make more. And a few parents will also be arrested.
Superintendent Cito Narcisse says this behavior...
Everybody's black. Everybody's black.
Head injury.
But we have made some arrests and we'll continue to make more. And a few parents will also be arrested.
Superintendent Cito Narcisse says this behavior will not be tolerated and there will be consequences.
We cannot allow parents to come up and get into fights for kids. And it's important that we keep the schools safe, even here at the alternative school. So we're going to be discussing that as soon as possible.
Jessica Knotts, Fox 44 News.
And deputies say they discovered a gun across the street, but they're not sure as to who it belongs to. They say this is still an ongoing investigation.
Pure mayhem as officers and deputies try to contain multiple fights all at once at a Baton Rouge alternative school today, with nearly 200 people involved. Good evening to you, friends. I'm Greg Merriweather. So at last count, 10 people have been arrested.
There's not just like 200 people, but there's multiple scenes. So it's like there's skirmishes and battlefronts all over the place, indoors and outdoors. People hiding in bushes, jumping out on people.
We had so many fights at my school one day where they threatened to send all of us home, which, I mean, that's not a real good idea because it just encourages the Sun kids to go harder.
Yeah.
But it is just nonstop. Like once like you've talked about before, you hype Sun people up and they just kind of, it's like a snowball effect.
Yeah.
First mistake was going and making a plan to have a fight. Second mistake was assuming nobody else would join in if you do it in front of a bunch of Sun kids.
Yeah, but here's the thing about that, Johnny. They fight all the time. So what was different about this fight than the fights that happen every day at these schools? Like, there's always fights that don't turn out like this. You know what I'm saying? So you could reasonably think as a Sun person, we're gonna have a fight and 200 people aren't gonna jump in. You could reasonably think that. This fights all the time.
Deputies try to contain multiple fights all at once at a Baton Rouge alternative school today, with nearly 200 people involved. Good evening to you, friends. I'm Greg Merriweather. So at last count, 10 people have been arrested, including both students and parents. Police say those parents, quote, skidded into the school in their cars and joined in the fights. Arlise Corville picks up the reporting there.
97, please come up to the school. We still got multiple fights taking place.
The call went out for all available law enforcement to respond. Multiple brawls had broken out across the EBR Readiness Alternative School, the site of the former Brookstown Middle School off Prescott Road. When officers from multiple agencies arrived, some say they were attacked. Investigators say it all started with a fight among a group of females and quickly escalated. School officials say multiple parents and even some adults living near the school showed up, some even joining in on the fights.
And that's when the fight spread throughout the school. So now we have a situation that involves students and potentially family members or friends who arrived at the school and joined in this sort of melee.
And that is when the call went out for even more backup and for EMS. 3 law enforcement officers were among the injured, including one with a serious hip injury.
Dislocated shoulder for you,
What they walked into was a series of fights and they began making arrests.
One video that's being widely circulated shows a student's head being knocked into a brick wall as a deputy tries to arrest him.
Okay, so out of all of that, that's what Black Twitter and Black Instagram is focused on. That right there.
And what's even more telling to the fact that there's no solutions, that it's a fucking black officer.
And just think about just the salaries. It's $4,000 an hour for those officers to be down there.
Each jurisdiction. Fabian, man, like, how do you, like, what is this? Is this Africa? Is this a recreation of Africa in America? Is that what we're seeing?
No, I don't think so, because you're talking in America, you're talking about a context that was built on the basis of a different psychology to house behavior from a different psychology. So you've got this population, these bodies, these minds displaced into a context that wasn't built to contain the way that they move in the world, whereas Africa was built for that. So I think there's more of a kind of a chaotic element in America. Because not only is there that displacement, but there's also, again, the problem of information and how some people respond differently than gliders to information. And some of the people that are responsible for disseminating information know that and use that. Just like you said, people on Black Twitter are talking about the cop who, was tussling with the kid. And the reason is because what the system does is it gives some people hustles that they can use in order to defer responsibility, in order to get money, and they'll take it. These populations have a very different relationship with honor and conscientiousness and scruples. And some people, it's obvious, you see it again and again, really don't have any scruples about it. If somebody hands them a hustle that they can use for any kind of advantage, be it money or influence or whatever, it's usually money's involved, they'll take it. They won't hesitate to take it. Whereas gliders hesitate. They want to know that they're doing the right thing and that it's honorable and that it's allowed and that it's appropriate. Some people don't have any such scruples. So when the system of power in a country hands that population hustles that system is then going to support them in using and making use of for its own aims. You know what I'm saying? They'll just use it. And so, yeah, of course they're going to talk about the cop because some people have been given the memo over and over again that this is a kind of a thing that you can say to gain advantage. You can use this to browbeat gliders and work the system.
Do you think there's such thing as an alternative school in Africa? The fact that even exists is a glider thing.
Yeah, the fact that letters exist, and when I say letters and numbers, I'm not talking about the sounds. I'm talking about the symbols that represent the sounds. The fact that those exist as a glider thing.
Deputies say that same student, a 17-year-old, had just punched that deputy in his face and tried to bite him. The student has been charged with battery on a police officer and resisting arrest. Police say they also found a loaded gun in front of the school.
We just want to stress to the public that we're not going to tolerate this as a district. This is a real shame, and the fact that people from the outside are coming onto our school campuses and conducting in this kind of behavior is really concerning for us and law.
Now tell me this, baby, is this guy equipped to deal with this? Because we've seen guys like this throughout history conquer the world and deal with more primitive populations very handily. What is it about this guy that he can't deal with this?
Well, those gliders weren't hamstrung by, those gliders were acting as representatives of the pinnacle of power in their societies. This guy is hamstrung by the pinnacle of power in his society. You know what I mean? In the opposite direction. He's prohibited strictly from behaving in a way anything like what those previous gliders would have behaved toward. And it's through the way that incentives are set for behavior, you know, to remain in good standing in the society, to do things like keep your job, to not get
Cancel
run out of
culture.
town. Yeah, exactly. To not get quote unquote canceled, etc. You know, these gliders are held prisoner psychologically by that, because, and it exploits particularly glider psychology, because they have that impulse to do what they understand to be right. But to understand what is right, they need to look to the source of power in their society. This is kind of subconscious, so people don't usually recognize consciously that they are responding to cues that they get from the environment as to what is considered good. People just think that it's my idea. I do this because it's good. And again, to go back to how women behave, you can particularly see it, because if you go to a rally, women holding signs, screaming into a megaphone, reciting slogans, none of it came from them. But they're sure that they are the ones fighting for this cause. But they're just repeating shit they got from somewhere else. This is especially how glider systems of status negotiation are co-opted and exploited to hamstring gliders from being able to respond reasonably and effectively to the behavior of other populations.
Enforcement as well.
And this is an ongoing investigation. Investigators say even more people will be arrested as they continue to review the surveillance and other videos of the fights.
Well, it's just tough to see. Thank you, Elise. We appreciate that indeed. Our Perry Robinson. Good evening to you, friends. I'm Greg Merriweather. Boy, it was just mass chaos today as officers and deputies tried to contain a massive brawl at a Baton Rouge alternative school today. There's new reaction tonight, and plenty of people say that there was blame to go around on all sides. This involved nearly 200 people.
Unit 97, please come up to the school. We still got multiple fights taking place.
Yeah, man. Call for a dislocated shoulder for a juvenile, man.
Okay, for this has been right. We have multiple detained.
School board leaders are now calling for accountability across the board. Our Perry Robinson's in the Alert Center with new reaction tonight. Perry.
Hey, Greg, leaders say this situation was one that should have never happened. And they are working to make sure that every person involved is, of course, held accountable.
It was a downright ugly scene at the EBR Readiness Alternative School.
Unit 97, please come up to the school. We still got multiple fights taking place.
Investigators say it all started when the fight between a group of girls got out of control. That's when multiple parents and even adults who lived near the school showed up. And some even decided to jump in and fight too. Security had to call for backup after they said they were attacked.
Put on camera that y'all try to jump me. Hey, tell them people try to jump me.
3 cops had to go to the hospital, including one with a broken hip.
What happened this morning, what I would say is an eyesore to everyone.
School board president Darius Landis says a lot of things went wrong.
And if we're being fully transparent, nobody is saying that wasn't wrongdoing on behalf of everybody.
One video that's been widely circulated shows a student's head being knocked into a brick wall as a deputy tries to arrest him. Deputies say that same student, a 17-year-old, had just punched that deputy in the face and tried to bite him. Landis claims officers have to stop a student from bringing a gun on campus just hours before any of this happened.
The things that people don't see is that a gun was almost brought onto that campus and got inside of the building today. What you won't see is that one child actually had a metal chair and either chased after a police officer or another child.
Landis says everyone has to be held accountable, specifically the parents.
Where these incidents they grow and become something even more is when our parents come on those campuses, and instead of removing those kids off of the campus so that we can restore order, we're finding that parents are also engaging inside of these fights as well. And I understand you want to protect the child, but there's a time and a place for which we can do that. And it's not inside of a school campus. It's not on a school campus.
The East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office plans to do a full investigation on the deputies involved.
if there was any wrongdoing that took place today, you're hearing this from me first. If there was any wrongdoing that took place today, we're going to get to the bottom of it. Whether that happened on behalf of law enforcement with a child, or whether a parent and a child, or a parent and a parent, or a parent and law enforcement, we're going to investigate every single thing because we want everybody to know that this is a fair and balanced system. Was it done properly? A lot of things could have been done differently, but we're going to operate from the space that we're going to do better. And that's our message to the community now. We're going to do better, but we need you all to work with us.
Nah.
Well, at least.
You don't think so? You don't think they're gonna do better?
No, they're gonna do exactly what they've always done. People talk like this every time, and nothing changes because it's hardware.
Yeah, it's definitely hardware. Ooh, man. Yikes, man. And this is not something that's uncommon because every city has these stories just about all the time. Like every city. This is Milwaukee right here.
Wauwatosa parents say they
2
are
days
fed
ago.
up with fights in the public schools.
Just in the last month, there have been at least 2 big fights involving students and their adult family members. Fox 6's Ashley.
It's the same thing. This is Wisconsin. This is Wisconsin. 4 days ago. Wisconsin.
Wauwatosa parents say they are fed up with fights in the public schools.
Just in the last month, there have been at least 2 big fights involving students and their adult family members. Fox 6's Ashley Sears live tonight with the concerns parents brought to the school board earlier.
Yeah, Mary, parents say they are scared, and so are their kids. Tonight, the superintendent told those parents they're taking the fights very seriously, and students are being disciplined.
At the Wauwatosa schools, the focus on education has been disrupted by violence. Fights at Wauwatosa East and West have resulted in citations and disciplinary action.
It's terrifying that we are living this all the time.
Look at the PTA meeting. Notice anything strange about the
All
PTA?
gliders and none of the people that are participating in the debauchery.
And nobody that's probably in the demographics of the school that were there.
It's like they'll pull up for a goddamn fight with a 15-year-old, but they won't pull up to a damn teacher conference.
Monday night, parents took their concerns to the school board.
What will it take for you to hold students and parents accountable?
Kate Bertram says she's worried about her daughter's safety after a fight at Wauwatosa West.
Last week, my daughter texted me that she and her friends were held up in a boiler room. They had located a ladder because they were on lockdown, and if they heard gunshots, they were ready to climb for their safety.
Superintendent Damon Means says the district has issued 11 expulsion notices
That's your superintendent.
already this school year, the most in 7 years.
We want students to have the right placement for their educational experience. And if you can't follow our rules, then maybe this is not the right placement for you.
Means says despite that action, problems have been growing as parents and family members have been involved with altercations.
I think we're dealing with something that's unprecedented, but we will meet the challenge.
Unprecedented fights the community wants to see stopped.
Let our students once again take pride in Wauwatosa instead of being known for the violence.
Now, we should point out no one spoke tonight in favor of what the school district is doing to stop the fights. The superintendent says besides disciplinary action, students can call an anonymous hotline to report any problems, and specialists are working within the schools to help students with conflict resolution. Reporting live in Wauwatosa, Ashley.
Oh God, man.
Suspensions don't work. It would have to be something immediate, like Ox says. It would have to be some sort of caning in order to actually get discipline in the school.
Jacksonville.
Right now, it's Nick St. Johns County parents raising concern after this clip circulated online showing one student attacking another at Switzerland Point Middle School.
Those families want to know why no one appeared to step in and why the school wasn't more transparent about what happened in the classroom and the hallway.
News for Jax reporter Joe McLean joining us live from Switzerland Point Middle School. And Joe, I know you spoke to several of those parents, but that includes the parents of that student who was attacked.
Right. Then they're just mortified with what happened to their child and mortified at this fight, which happened on Wednesday. And according to students who witnessed it, they said it extended out into the hallway. Part of the hallway, they said, even had to be shut down as custodial staff cleaned up blood. Now, the parents that I spoke to, including the parents of the student who appeared to be attacked, they want answers.
These are images from that video that raised the alarms of parents at Switzerland Point Middle School. It was captured Wednesday by the cell phone of someone inside that classroom and shows a student wielding a chain wrapped around their fist, beating and stomping on another student.
He was just blindsided by the whole thing and didn't even know it was coming. So he couldn't even defend himself if he wanted to.
That's the mother of the student who was attacked, who spoke with me over the phone.
I'm afraid of the repercussions that might happen with the other students that are friends with this kid. I don't know what to do. I have no answer. All I get from the school is, we can't tell you.
No one has any answers.
According to the students who witnessed the fight, it continued out into the hallway, and custodial staff had to keep the area clear in order to clean up blood. That afternoon, a short memo was emailed to parents saying an incident occurred that caused the hallways to be cleaned, and that at no point during this was the safety of our students compromised. This parent of a Switzerland Point student got that message. She asked not to be identified.
It's just a very cryptic, non-transparent email, making it seem like there was a spill.
I'm hoping these are burritos or gliders that were kicking the shit out that kid. What do you think?
I think it might be on burritos.
Or some type of mess in the hallway.
It wasn't until her son got home from school that she learned what actually happened.
He proceeded to just tell me that there was a fight at school that day and that there was blood in the hallway, that this child was bleeding, which then made me realize exactly what that email was about.
The word of mouth spread, fueled by the violent video.
That ain't us. We ain't that ain't a Sunman, man. That's a glider or a burrito. I'm gonna say glider. The way he's swinging, he's kind of tall. This is a glider, man.
Clip shared among the school's parents who called and
what do y'all think, glider?
Emailed the school and the St. Johns County District demanding answers. Late Thursday night, Principal Linda Carnall sent a follow-up email confirming that 2 fights had occurred, which were handled according to district policy, and that EMS was not called to the campus. She added a warning against students filming and sharing videos on campus, which is a violation of student conduct policy. This parent, who also asked to remain anonymous, says she was frustrated with the school's lack of transparency.
The second email that came out yesterday from the principal would not have had happened if parents weren't calling or emailing. By just saying there was a cleanup in the hallway that needed to be done, it's very vague and it's kind of shady.
Now, the district spokesman for the district said that there's things they can't tell us because of federal law, because of FERPA. They said they can't disclose whether the student is being disciplined or whether they were referred to law enforcement. Now, the parents I spoke to said they hope that the parent of this child who was attacked presses criminal charges. Now, according to the parents of the student who was attacked, he suffered a fractured nose as well as facial scars and bruises. They tell me they're planning to explore their legal options. Reporting live, I'm Joe McLean, Channel 4.
Wow. Oh yeah, I want to give you guys an update on story we did a couple of weeks ago, man. May have been a couple weeks ago. Teacher's aide is granted permanent injunction against hulking 6'6" boy, 17, who viciously beat her at school. I just want to make sure this doesn't happen to anybody else. What does that mean, a permanent injunction? What does that mean? Anybody?
My only assumption is that it's some sort of permanent restraining order.
So this is the teacher that got the shit beat out of her. Wow. Joan Nader, she was 57 years old. And this is the guy. This is him. 6'6", 270. Nick Saban gotta be salivating.
Yeah, he's playing that over and over again. He's looking at the hand placement and the hips. Like, that might be that might be my next left tackle right there.
Definitely, man. This woman, man, goddamn. Wow. 57-year-old woman like that, man. Jesus Christ. Let's see what he was saying after the arrest.
No more wasting money on multiple cleaning.
Stand up for me. Put your hands behind your back. Turn around. Turn the other way. Stay right there. Got it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to take your watch off. You'll get it back. That way it doesn't pinch you. But your watch is going in your pocket. Okay? Watch is in your pocket.
Am I going to jail?
Yes, you are.
For how long?
I do not know. I don't make that determination.
I'm a double weapon.
Deputy King's locking them, so when you sit down, they don't tighten up, okay?
Look how they coddling this piece of shit who just curb stomped a 57-year-old glider woman.
Is that your bag? Is that your bag?
Yes.
Okay, and this is your laptop?
Yes.
All right, we'll put it all together and we'll get it down. I'm gonna bring them here. Go ahead, go with Deputy King. Look at me. You gonna be cool with Deputy King and I?
F you. I don't want to go to jail.
Well, Brennan, look at me. Look at
I
me.
have more important places.
I understand.
You can stop manhandling.
He said, "Stop manhandling."
He sounded like he's kind of slow.
He knew to say, "Stop manhandling me."
He said, "I have more important things to do."
Well, Brennan, look at me. Look at
I
me.
have more important places.
I understand.
You can stop manhandling me. It's not like I'm
Nobody's manhandling you, Brennan.
Oh, she got to go
It's
fund. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's surreal.
Yeah, man, he curb stomped that lady. You saw it? Did you see that one?
I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's just surreal that we have a system that tells people that behave that way that they still have room to make demands of the people that are there to enforce the law, however meekly, and they'll just do it. They'll press any button that's given to them to press, regardless of how utterly absurd it is that they should think that they have any say in what happens to them after that.
Yeah, if this was a Sun society and depended on, because Sun society, you agree with this, crime would be adjudicated depending on who you did it to, right? It wouldn't just be a law, right? A firm.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, there will be like kind of laws on the books, but even that will probably be a remnant of like a colonial situation. But even if even if you're dealing with a situation where there are technically laws on the books, that's going to factor in way down the list. That's going to be low on the list of priorities of how your treatment is going to be determined. Yeah, who's involved, who you did it to. If you did it to someone that's got some clout or that has, big family or that has some standing in the community, you're done. You're getting you're getting barbecued. Like literally, you're going to be on the next round of hero sandwiches that go around the village.
Yeah. I just think that so if he had done that in the Sun Society against someone who mattered, he would have been dead already, right? By the time those cops came, right?
Dead at best.
Yeah, at best. Yeah, probably dying a gruesome death.
Slowly,
yeah.
Slowly and painfully.
I think that that's one of the issues that, and I talked about this the other day. The length of time it takes to adjudicate justice doesn't speak to our sensibilities. Like getting arrested, getting out on bond, getting an ankle monitor, having a 2025 court date.
Oh, absolutely. If there's any space between the act and the retaliation, I think that some people, it just doesn't compute because at that point it seems like you're already getting away with it. If there's any space, if the police are dealing with you, let's say you did something, police are now dealing with you, they're going to take you to jail eventually. If they act with any hesitation or any politeness it immediately short circuits the feeling on the part of some people that they are actually being held to account. The only way that instinctively some people feel that the system is effectively holding them to account is if the retaliation is swift and ruthless. Anything short of that, it doesn't seem like the people that are enforcing the rules actually have legitimate authority, and that's a deep psychological thing too. It's a primary cognitive trait, how people feel and think about authority, and it's just different for different populations. So glider manifestations of authority just don't compute for some people as authoritative. That's why there will any little gap in that, any distance between the act and the retaliation. Some people have for the most part, especially those who are going to be more prone. How would you put it? The more alpha types. Those people are going to shove whatever they can into that space to try to widen the gap and win that situation because it's just a contest in the moment for them.
Yeah, I agree.
They'll say I can't breathe. They'll fake a seizure. They'll whatever. They'll say, why are you touching me? I didn't do anything. You don't have to do all that. You're doing too much. Well, you see it over and over and over and over again. And the universality of it, the constancy of these responses, I think gives some indication as to how fundamental cognitively these responses are. Because it's not just one person does it, one person does it, and does it another way. Firstly, these are the responses to glider authority on the part of some people.
Modern glider authority, yeah. Salute to Deluxe 247, aka Cal Ripken, aka Cal Ripken, aka the real MVP, coming through once again. Florida school bus attendant allegedly struck child with belt 9 times. A school bus attendant in Florida allegedly hit a child with a belt 9 times and is now facing felony child abuse charges. The Winter Haven Police Department says Lonnie, L-O-N-I, Covington, also known as Miss Lonnie, allegedly beat an 11-year-old boy on his side with a belt on November 15, 2022, according to Fox 13. Covington allegedly flicked the child in the ear or neck on November 14th, 2022. And she also allegedly grabbed the boy's sister on the wrist to snatch a picture away from her on November 16th, 2022. When Covington allegedly hit the 11-year-old boy with the belt 9 times, the child's grandmother said she saw belt marks on his back and side. She took pictures of the alleged injuries and gave them to Polk County School Transportation. So this woman, and you know how the school bus is in the stand, right? You know, you can just imagine, right? So maybe this woman felt like discipline, you know what I'm saying? That y'all ain't gonna act like this on my school bus, you know what I'm saying? And she just got fed up and did, like you said, immediate, you know what I'm saying? An immediate response, a brutal response. You know what I mean? I just don't know. If this was Nigeria, she wouldn't got punished at all. At all. Salute to Genetic Freak says strengths become weaknesses. Gliders in history achieved greatness. Did necessary evils based on conviction. That same conviction has now devolved into an idiotic, compulsive need to be right. Pasty lives today are just the new version of religious gliders of 30 plus years ago. What do you think about that?
I mean, some of those things can be disputed. You'd need to explain a little bit more, but the main difference is that the religious sentiment of, for example, glider women who are really passionate about repeating the slogans of, popular morality, those sentiments, those narratives, those doctrines 30 plus years ago, I mean, I think he's probably talking about more because that's not that long ago. But if he's talking about previous iterations of religious sentiment and kind of, the righteous morality in glider societies of a longer time ago, the main difference is that those doctrines at that time were put together for the benefit and maintenance and integrity of glider societies. And so what they do now is the opposite. They disintegrate the integrity of societies by coddling exactly those people who tend to do the most damage to them, and by excusing that damage and encouraging that damage and disabling gliders from protecting themselves from it and preventing it. So I don't know if that's what he's talking about, but I would say that if that's what he means, if he means previous eras of a sense of sort of moral righteousness as encoded in religious doctrine, I would say that that's the primary difference. It's kind of night and day.
A Polk County school bus attendant is charged with felony child abuse after Winter Haven police say she hit an 11-year-old boy with a belt 9 times, and it was caught on camera, according to detectives. Winter Haven police arrested Lonnie Covington this week, but the child's grandmother reported the alleged abuse in November, saying she saw marks from the belt on her grandson and took pictures.
So there you have, it happened in November, and she's just being arrested, and her court date will probably be in 2025. Yeah, and I don't really think that she, even though her justice will be delayed. I've dealt with son kids, man. A bunch of them together. They respond to that. Like the woman that don't play, oh man, don't go to Miss Johnson class. Miss Johnson don't play. I better not be talking. Like the teachers that don't play, the teachers that are, very what you would say mean or crazy, get respect. There's not much talking in their classes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why this particularly is really worrying. Now, if it was a glider, obviously, she'd be sanctioned and paraded yeah. But the fact that it's a Sun woman and she's still getting sanctioned by, and it's I know it's a vague term, but the power structure, because this is, it's media. It's she's being put up. I mean, how many son parents, grandparents would beat the shit out of their children, and they don't get paraded in front of the public. So the fact that this woman is being made an example of, it's sending a message to the kids, just like it sends a message to some people in general, that look, the people who run the power structure have your back. If any glider tries to protect themselves against you, if you're robbing, raping, killing, whatever, we'll try to make it so they're the ones that get punished and you get off. And it's a similar message being sent to kids now in this particular case. Maybe it's not going to be a trend. Maybe this is just a weird situation. There's other reasons why it has to be made something of. They had to get out before it or something, for some reason. But generally, this is a kind of a thing that's going to send a message to the kids that they don't even need to respond to the son woman who doesn't put up with shit. They can trust the system to side with them in disregarding the authority of such a woman, which previously they would have had to contend with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. It's just it's a sliding slope.
Right. So the worry, in other words, is that this tendency is encroaching further and further into communities. It's looking for the most destructive, the most unscrupulous and rampant elements to empower them as much as possible and move any barriers to their rampancy out of the way, like this lady would normally be. Someone who does not put, your bus driver who's not going to put up with shit, who is willing to go as far as taking out a belt and taking it to your ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's just sad, man. I mean, like, because if the sister can't, lay the smack down every once in a while, we're in deep trouble, man, with dealing with the
And if
son.
if she gets in trouble for it, that's going to send a message to the kids that the door is open. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. Wow.
Yeah.
Whew. Yeah. Let's do some of these. Let's do some of these cities, man. Let me see something. What do we have? I think I had some more stories that are okay. Oh, here we go. Here goes one. Well, here we go. Here go one. Oh shit! I didn't share my screen. Let me share my screen. Let me share my screen. Let me share my screen. Now I'm gonna just use this one. Yeah, there's a lot going on, man. A lot going on right now. It's like every night, man. It's just like just insane.
He had to have his eye removed after a struggle with a Clinton Township police officer. Now he's demanding justice through his attorney, and we spoke with that attorney. I'm gonna tell you, dude. Yeah, baby. Woo! It's just some of what becomes an intense struggle between a Clinton Township police officer and a man named Daniel Reef. The body cam footage now the subject of a lawsuit alleging unwarranted excessive force. Get on your stomach now! Get on your stomach now!
Daniel had done nothing wrong whatsoever.
Attorney Jonathan Marco's firm filing this suit.
He literally had gotten off the bus and was walking to his friend's house when he was suddenly stopped by a police officer with Clinton Township.
Marco says the officer
Stop and frisk, huh?
Punched Daniel in the face, causing a bone fracture in 2 places. He says Daniel was unarmed.
He's blind now for the rest of his life. He has a glass eye. He has permanent vision loss in that eye. They had to take his eyeball out.
Please, God, help me out. Please, I can't breathe. The incident took place in April of 2021. Marco says someone called police to report 2 suspicious people cutting through a backyard. Only he says
Damn, could you imagine everything about this story? If this guy was black, this country would be turned upside down. The whole news cycle would be about this. A guy walking, someone makes a call, some Karen sees a suspicious guy in her neighborhood. She calls the cop. The cop comes, socks the guy in the eye. He loses his fucking eye. He's talking about I can't breathe on body cam. Everything about this story, any little fucking incident in this story could be the number one trending story in the country right now if this guy was black. And I bet you none of you people heard about this story. I bet you the only person that's going to cover this video on all of YouTube is Ak Nation News. Insane. This is how, for all you people who balk or roll your eyes or gasp when you hear more gliders are killed every year by police than some people, when you just can't fathom that, it's because they don't show you this shit. You never see these fucking stories. This is how you have twice as many gliders killed by some people every year.
He had to have his eye removed after a struggle with the Clinton Township police officer. Now he's demanding justice through his attorney, and we spoke with that attorney.
I'm gonna take you, dude. Yeah, baby. Woo!
It's just some of what becomes an intense struggle between a Clinton Township police officer and a man named Daniel Reef. The body cam footage now the subject of a lawsuit alleging unwarranted excessive force.
Get in the stomach, no! Get in the stomach, no!
Daniel had done nothing wrong whatsoever.
Attorney Jonathan Marco's firm filing this suit.
He literally had gotten off the bus and was walking to his friend's house when he was suddenly stopped by a police officer with Clinton Township.
Marco says the officer punched Daniel in the face, causing a bone fracture in 2 places. He says Daniel was unarmed.
He's blind now for the rest of his life. He has a glass eye. He has permanent vision loss in that eye. They had to take his eyeball out.
Please, God, help me out. Please. Please, I can't breathe.
The incident took place in April of 2021. Marco says someone called police to report 2 suspicious people cutting through a backyard. Only he says his client had nothing to do with it.
So the police were looking for these 2 guys who had cut through a backyard. Daniel, one guy, did not cut through a backyard, was simply getting off a bus and going to his friend's house.
The video does show Daniel running from police. Marco says there's a good reason for that.
He becomes scared. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know why he's suddenly being stopped and asked to come over here. He didn't do anything wrong. He becomes frightened and he runs.
Marco says Daniel will never be the same.
Kind of, I guess I call it a case of mistaken identity of an innocent person has changed and impaired his life forever.
We reached out to Clinton Township Police for a comment. We wanted to get their side of the story. We haven't heard back yet. We will let you know when we do. Dave Kinchin.
Wow. What do y'all think about that, man?
I don't understand why he ran. Like this whole, I'm scared. That's bullshit to me.
Yeah, I can get that.
Yeah, I mean that part of it, I never understand why you would respond if a police officer is telling you to do the hokey pokey and turn yourself around. Like, why aren't you just doing that? Like, I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't believe as somebody who's been around criminals and somebody who has had interactions with police numerous. That's bullshit. You run because you're trying to get away. You don't run because you're scared. You're not. The safest place in the world for a black criminal is in police custody, and they know it. They all fucking know it. The only time you're trying to get, the only time you're fucking not safe in police custody is if you hog spit in one of their faces, or pinch their balls, or punch them, or some shit like that. But if they're like, hey, you come here. If I got drugs on me or a legal gun, I'm running. So I can ditch it at least. So by the time they catch me, it's like, oh, what? And the fucking weeds in the bushes or the guns on a fucking roof or somewhere. But yeah, there's a reason. The reason you run is because you're dirty. You have something on you that you don't want the cop to fucking find. Salute to Acadia, man. Acadia says, No glider incidents never see the light of day. Yeah. They never show that. That story was like literally, if you took every piece of that story and made it 10 different Sun stories. So if you just took the cop yelling "woo" while he was arresting him, that could have been a fucking big deal in Black Twitter and on CNN. Look at the cop, he's yelling "yeehaw" like the old redneck while he's arresting the black man. If you had taken the Karen calling the police on the suspicious guy walking through the neighborhood, that could have been another story. If you'd taken it was two guys, and this guy wasn't even one of the guys that could be a story. You could take the I can't breathe on the body cam. You could take that. It's like you could take he lost his eye. You could take the cop punch. You could take each fucking piece of that story, divided amongst 10 Sunmen getting arrested, and each one of those 10 stories could be the biggest story in the country that day. And I don't know how you fix that.
Yeah, I think again the main thing, just like I can't remember which one of the panelists had mentioned it. It's just the media, how the media operates and why it operates the way that it does. If it wasn't in the grip of a particular agenda, then there could be room to flip the situation, because it's all riding on the momentum of this mass programming that people, when people see what they see coming out of mass media, they're preconditioned to accept it. And so, you'd have to change the landscape of that conditioning.
Yeah.
Hours from now, a man accused of killing a Clark Atlanta student goes before a judge.
The family of Alexis Crawford has a message for the suspect and for the judge. Here's Ariana Manise.
This morning, the mother of Alexis Crawford is demanding a judge deny bond for one of the two people accused of killing her daughter. This comes as hours from now, Barron Brantley is expected to have a status hearing. The 21-year-old was a Clark Atlanta student when she was killed October of 2019. Investigators say her roommate, Jordan Jones, and Jones's then boyfriend, Barron Brantley, killed Crawford and then dumped her body. According to detectives, both Jones and Brantley admitted under questioning at least parts of their roles in this crime. Now, in a statement, Crawford's family said the Fulton County District Attorney's Office notified them that Brantley is seeking bond. Her mother's statement goes on to say that she's afraid, angry, and in disbelief bond will be considered for Barron. She's also praying.
But this is what. And listen, man, I gotta go some water, but I'm frustrated with the fact that basic things. I get the IQ gap. I get the achievement gap. I get that. I promise you I get that. But it can't be that bad that this woman doesn't see the correlation between everything she demanded and this guy who killed her daughter possibly getting a bond. Because Atlanta, 3 years ago in Atlanta, this guy wouldn't even be thinking about getting a bond. In Georgia. Now he's he's coming to court like, yeah, man, like, yeah, let me out, give me a bond. And the woman's mother, the mother of the girl who's killed, who's a black woman in Atlanta, she doesn't see the correlation. These are elementary connections. And I just refuse to believe that some people can't make elementary connections. I get it, calculus and fucking microbiology. But these are elementary connections. Maybe there's something else at play, Fabian, other than genetics.
Well, the thing that immediately jumped into my mind is you mentioned the connection. You make the connection, you speak, you verbalize the correlation. But you watch all of these news presentations that talk about these stories. They talk about one element of it. They talk about another element of it. They talk about both sides. But do you ever see some suit and tie sitting behind a desk with all the computer graphics behind them with all the pomp and circumstance of these presentations. Do you ever see any person in a place of high prestige and authority presenting these stories, vocalizing a correlation?
No, but she has to make, like, okay, like today I was talking with my mom, and my mom's a Sun woman, as you know, and she's wokety woke. I mean, super duper woke. I mean, irredeemably woke. She's 70 something. So, and I'm telling her, look, we started talking about criminal justice and whatnot, and I'm telling her it's pretty much the same person who 3 years ago, well now 4 years ago, who would be in the store looking around side to side, trying to find out where the camera was, trying to find out where the security guard was, stuffing items in his shirt or in his pockets or in his bag on the sly, walking out the store, heart beating, hoping that the alarm doesn't go off or hoping that the guard doesn't stop him. That same thief is now walking into the store, grabbing the whole fucking display, lifting it up and waddling out. He's fucking putting it in his fucking truck and driving off. How did we get there? And she doesn't understand how we got there. How that same guy 3 years ago has become this guy.
Well, the fact that we are
and
there.
We know there's.
I was going to say the fact that
Go
we're
ahead.
there, and the fact that we're there, and the fact that she doesn't understand are related, because that guy feels, senses, knows that everybody psychologically is being together told to stand down about his behavior to an increasing extent. There's a subconscious stratum of understanding and nonverbal communication that everybody's participating, that makes up the shared environment of society, and people are getting signals and responding. When people in high positions of prestige and authority are telling you all the elements of these stories, but never making a correlation, that signals to everybody watching that this is how you're allowed and encouraged to think and talk about these things, never to connect them. And you bring that into your interactions with society. And when you bring that blindness, you signal that you feel that you're not allowed to correlations, then the people whose behavior would be regulated by people being allowed to make those correlations can behave with impunity, and they know that, and they respond to that.
Fabian, drop off and come back right quick so I can get your mic's acting up.
Well, and what I was going to say is we know they're capable of making that rationalization, because you have had people that go to the store with one of those alarm tag guns that pull off the little alarm tags on it. So we know they're capable of planning it out and seeing the correlation there too.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like my mom just couldn't. She argued me down about that it had nothing to do with criminal justice reform, and I was like, wait a second. But I know these guys. I know the person that's fucking putting stakes down their pants legs, or fucking like going into the dressing room and putting 4 pairs of jeans on underneath their jeans and fucking walking out the store. Now they just fucking go in and grab the whole fucking display. Fucking come in with a fucking duffel bag and just sit there and stuff shit in there and then put the shit over their fucking back and just walk out right past the security guard like it's nothing. How do you get from that to that in 3 years? Well, actually, it was 1 year, but we're in year 3 of it. We literally got from there to there in like a month, but we're in year 3 of that. And they just don't understand it. But yeah, let me get some more.
It's the sheep mentality. People when they call people sheep, that's what they're referring to. These people don't have self-awareness, and they don't have the part of their brain either present or switched on at all that can draw connections independently of what they're told they're allowed to feel and think.
Well, you got there's this YouTuber that does, I think, about Firearms Unknown, that did the Three Little Pigs and the Big Bad Wolf with what's going on there. And so the little pigs tried to make a law saying that they couldn't do that, and the Big Bad Wolf came in and just didn't go along with the signs. It goes along with firearms, but and you have the one little pig that actually has his gun, and he's fine, but the rest of them are just sheep. They're just, well, we made the laws against it, but they just don't follow it. They couldn't understand that, oh, well, making a law doesn't make a difference. You've got to have force.
Yeah, not everybody's going to be the type of person or inclined to be the one to exert that force.
The vast majority of people are sheep. You can control a society with a very few select group of people in key positions, and the vast majority of people will never have the self-awareness or actualization to question anything that they're being told. They just automatically assume that it is by default for the betterment of society and including them.
Yeah, that's why the information systems are important, because on the opposite end, you could imagine that if, hold on, I got a lot of traffic noise here. If all of the media items on these kinds of incidents, let's say they're being reported proportionally, but also correlations are being made, things are being said that would actually allow the population that has to deal with these problems to not allow them even just to act on them, but to think honestly and clearly and accurately about them. The way that people comport themselves in society would shift in such a way that they would feel confident to respond appropriately, because they don't have a power system that's constantly pressuring them not to notice or to lie to themselves.
Yeah, don't believe your lying eyes. People are constantly dumbing themselves down in the attempts to be more virtuous and therefore ensure their survival by adhering to the group.
Yeah, but the fact that kind of behavior is what it means to adhere is by design. It has to be a designed narrative.
Yeah,
Because
people don't understand.
Entirely counterintuitive and against, if people were just allowed to be honest with themselves about what they see, they would conclude the opposite things of what they're being told is permissible.
Yeah, people don't when they think of warfare, they think of bombs and airplanes and soldiers with helmets. They don't think of a news program. They don't think of a music video. They don't think of loans. They don't think of political PACs, things like this. But that is the new battlefield. The new battlefield is TikTok. The new battlefield is that Taylor Swift music video, injecting social cues and mimicry for you to adhere to, that you then in turn display in your day-to-day life at the water cooler or the Thanksgiving table, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the whole environment of the curated environment of information that people increasingly are partaking of is full of deliberately structured signals about what's normal, about what's permissible, about what's kind, about what is cruel, etc. And it's amazing how, I think it's a system that has been long in the making, and it's amazing how effective it is. And particularly, it's amazing how secretly it manages to inject itself into the behavior of the interpersonal behavior.
Yeah, it's a very, very slow process to, get the society, which I mean, it's moving in a more communistic direction, but to get a society that's built on freedom of thought and Bill of Rights and yada yada, from there to the hive mind place where we're at now, it's a very, very slow walk, but it's very deliberate from generation to generation.
Last outlaw, who are you? Last outlaw, who are you? Going
Hey,
once? What's up, man? Who are you?
Hey, you know me, Ock.
I don't remember you, man. I'm sorry. Last outlaw, going once? Going twice?
I'm on there.
Who are you? I don't remember you.
Oh man, it's been a while, Ock, but I ain't here to cause no trouble, bro.
No,
I do remember him,
bro. I'm the
You
country
remember him?
singer, bro. I put a little twang in
Okay.
it. You know what I'm
Okay. I just hadn't seen the name, and it's been a rough night, and
Oh yeah, I hear you, bro. Redneck married to the black woman, 24 years, bro.
Okay.
You beat all the wokeness out of me. You were you excruciated the last wokeness out of me, bro.
Okay, so what do you think about this?
Well, it all goes back, and I hear fishermen's frustrations every night. It's the same thing I go through, and I mean, even with my sister and my brother-in-law, it's almost to the point where we've been built up and just ingrained in us to be so oversensitive to everyone else's feelings that we forgot our own safety in the process. And it is sad. And I don't see other countries, bowing down like this, but in our country, it's where we're at. The best thing you can do is just protect your own. Because I ride with black folks, so I don't really have a choice to go back to the other side. You know what I mean?
Well, you got Britain, France, Norway, Sweden, all doing this. Netherlands.
Anywhere there's a historical glider majority, this is the program.
Yeah, I mean, I live in glider country. I mean, there's like 1 million Trump flags everywhere I live, but the people still, we just had a Mexican fellow arrested today with some fentanyl, and the comments on the computer, people were, oh, here we go again with the Trump. There's so many woke people, even in redneck America.
we can't really talk about like who the group that is behind these machinations, because they run everything. And if you don't believe me, just ask Kanye West.
Yeah, I mean, he's living proof of that.
So look at this footage. Like, look how brazen it's gotten. This is in the middle of the day.
Well, you saw the one in Canada where they drove through the doors of the mall, went out, robbed stuff, and then drove back out to the other entrance.
Are you muted, or is there something wrong with my system?
No, you good. I'm just looking at this.
CCTV footage.
Yeah.
No sound.
Yeah, this is no sound, but there's some sound. I mean, it was sound when they switched it, but this is just, where are the cops? Like, it looks like a lawless land, but it's not really. It's their brazenness that makes it appear to be a lawless land, because I promise you, it's their brazenness. Because we don't see cops every 5 minutes. It's just people just don't do this. They didn't do this before. A glider. He's selling it. Look at that. Look at that guy. Look how brazen that is. Criminals. You have gliders doing this stuff too. Gliders doing this stuff too. And that seemed like a glider crime because that was very like heat-ish. Like the movie Heat.
Very planned.
Very heat-ish, yeah.
Yeah, caper.
Look at the three. Look at that. Birmingham. This is England. This is England, though. This is England for just for the record. This happened in England.
And they're still looking for the suspects tonight. Plywood marks the spot where the smash and grab robbers hit, an all too familiar scene, covering up the broken windows. 4 businesses hit in less than half an hour, but it's not clear what of value, if anything, was taken. The plywood is up, covering the smashed front windows. The shop temporarily closed. This Sally Beauty Supply on Santa Monica Boulevard in Hollywood. One of at least 4 businesses hit in the early morning hours.
They must have really needed to wash their hair, huh?
Not funny if you're one of the business owners. Between 4 and 4:30 a.m., the smash and grabbers went to work. Security cam video shows what police describe as 3 black men targeting 2 restaurants in Koreatown, ransacking them, smashing the registers. Not clear what, if anything, was taken.
Did you hear that? 3 black men? Now I want to ask you, Fabian, I want to ask you this. How do you feel knowing that I could show 100 videos of Sunmen doing this type of stuff and 1 video of gliders doing it, and the majority of America says, well, yeah, look, everyone's doing it at the same clip. Does that make you want to pull your hair out?
Something. Yeah. It's spooky.
Because I showed you that glider clip, even though I thought it was America. I didn't watch it, but I just thought it was America. But it's actually England. But one thing I notice about America is that if they see a glider do it, people think that glider crime, these things are happening at the same clip. Or no, they don't think that. Let me say they know that's not true, but they like to.
Yeah, everyone does it. I've gotten to arguments with glider queens that argue that exact point. Oh, everyone's doing it. I'm like, no, they're not. You're out of your mind. But they don't want to let into they don't want to let the thought into their mind that there is something off with the Sun community because racism is the worst, most egregious societal ill.
Because that's a third rail. They know that you can get in trouble for admitting that truth. And the trouble is it's particularly insidious because when you're living under that kind of cognitive dissonant pressure, you're being called upon to show up in society as someone who truly believes these things. And if you want to do that convincingly, you have to actually believe it. So any part of your brain that is capable of just seeing the truth of the world around you that's in front of you, it's amazing. People have this ability to put a lid on that. And when people say like, well, these people know the truth, but they're not allowing themselves to say it, or they're not allowing themselves to act on it. Human beings it's unfortunately, or whatever. Fortunately, unfortunately, whatever.
It's how guys raise kids that aren't theirs. The kid looks nothing like them. The kid doesn't have their head, their ears, doesn't have their nose, doesn't have their lips, but they know they were sleeping with the girl at the similar, all this time, and they figured that it got to be my baby because I was sleeping with her and she says it's my baby, but the kid looks nothing like you. You're fucking 5'2", the kid's 6'9". You know what I'm saying? Like what you said.
And if people do that, it's because the consequences psychologically of admitting the truth are just too dire, too devastating. And Extreme power, I mean, power to put you in jail, power to kill you and have everybody celebrate it. Extreme power is constantly telling everybody, this is what you're allowed to say. This is what you're allowed to think. It doesn't matter what the reality is. These are the parameters, and people have to show up in society convincingly manifesting a belief in that. And in order to be convincing, they have to thoroughly stifle their ability to see what's actually going on. It's the line between knowing and not knowing and believing and not knowing is a lot fuzzier than is very easy to talk about. And people scratch their head about it and they're puzzled about it. How could people believe this? I can't believe people can still believe this when they're, living in the world. It's amazing the degree to which human beings can wrestle themselves into these cognitive knots when the power structure is demanding that you do this or else. And gliders respond differently to those cues than sun people do. And it's set up to exploit those differences.
Funny if you're one of the business owners, between 4 and 4:30 a.m., the smash and grabbers went to work. Security cam video shows what police describe as 3 black men targeting 2 restaurants in Koreatown, ransacking them, smashing the registers. Not clear what, if anything, was taken, fleeing in a white SUV. Earlier, cameras also captured them prying loose a safe inside the family-owned Sweet Corner Bakery on Melrose in Hollywood. Today, another telltale sign of what happened, more plywood over the windows.
It's hard. It's tough, I mean, I don't want to put gates on these beautiful windows, but now I'm considering it, roll down gates.
In fact, this store back on Santa Monica Boulevard already has bars. It's 2 doors down from Sally Beauty.
You sure don't feel comfortable.
Robert Vartzar is renovating a former cell phone shop into a physical therapy clinic. The metal left over from the...
One thing I find interesting too, in I speak about this sometimes, but not as much as I should. That most of the people that are on the other end of commerce in this country, the shop owners, things of that nature, are not even gliders, but they're people from other parts of the world. They're like Mexicans, or they're North African, Middle Easterners. You know what I'm saying? It's so like the Sun Man. It's just so stark that they don't own anything in their, in these cities, in these heavily sun cities, almost all of the stores are owned not by gliders, their big rival that's oppressing them, but by other people who either came here first generation, can't speak the language that well, or or just another minority. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that strange that we never see black shop owners?
Even in the South, down in like South Carolina, I lived in the coastal areas down there in the Low Country, and even in the black neighborhoods there, it's owned by like the Indians, Prairie Patel. I mean,
crazy.
In their own neighborhood, they've been there 400 years, don't even own this store.
And they never articulate that point because it shoots the narrative down completely that this is some sort of systemic oppressive system. This
guy's not an Anglo-Saxon. This guy's fucking Turkey or somewhere or some shit like they first generation or second generation from Albania or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Everyone who owns everything in Sun communities or even in just the urban centers where they live is not Sun or white.
But look, it takes those kind of people to deal with the Sun community. To be honest with you, because they're tougher than we are.
Exactly, that's true.
These people respond way differently.
That's true. Great point. That is a great point because you guys wouldn't last long. You guys would get run out of town. Yeah.
Robert Vartzar is renovating a former cell phone shop into a physical therapy clinic. The metal left over from the previous tenants. The smash and grabs a little too close for comfort.
Luckily, we have this metal bar, so hopefully that will deter them away. But we're not happy about it. That's for sure.
Second thoughts?
Yeah, for sure.
Second thoughts, but still planning to move in here on Santa Monica Boulevard. Sally opened a short while ago. The plywood's still up, of course. Again, not much of a description. 3 black males, a white SUV, possibly a Range Rover. And again, most business, of course, don't keep cash on hand overnight. So what they got at 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. in the morning, it's a good question. Live in
Salute to Chelsea, aka Chum. She says, Chesley. She says, have you heard about the Maryland bill that would prevent anyone under 25 from being charged with felony murder? Kind of seems like they want people to kill each other. Yeah, we covered that. We'll go to Baltimore next, man. We covered that though.
In Hollywood, I'm Phil Schumann, Fox 11 News.
Hi, Lou. Yeah, broken glass, missing money. That's what several business owners found this morning from the Westlake District to Melrose Avenue, about a 4.
Car thefts are at their highest level in the U.S. since 2008, and Illinois tops the list. Now, one man from the south suburbs says he knows what's pushing the numbers higher. He caught thieves on surveillance camera pushing his car from his house. He told CBS 2's Sarah Maki he's sick of this trend, and she found one car security expert looking for some solutions.
Sadly enough to say, I kind of already expected this to happen. I just didn't think my day was going to come that day, but it did, and that's just what happened.
That's Jawan Bishop's reaction after watching these videos of thieves steal his Dodge Charger this week. After they break a rear window, they're able to essentially put this Dodge in neutral. You can see one person running behind the car to push it into the street. Others join, and then he says they use another stolen car to push his down the road, where they tried to...
I mean, like...
What kind of jerry-rig bullshit operation is this?
They got his car though. It's the brazenness for me.
Whatever
man.
means necessary.
Like this is I'm not afraid. This is why when I hear some people, especially gliders, believe that some people are afraid. Well, he was afraid. They're afraid of the police. Does this look like people that are afraid of interacting with police? People that where an interaction with a police officer is a death sentence, or if not a death sentence, highly likely to end in either you getting your ass kicked or you die. Would anybody behave like this if that was the case?
See, but if you said that, if you the point you made is accurate, but if you've said that to one of these sheep gliders or any of these other sheep people, their mind would refuse to acknowledge the fact that everything you said made sense because it's against the narrative. They would deny it, not because you're wrong, but because they're scared of the repercussions they would face from the group.
Because this is like beyond bold. Like at any point, a neighbor, somebody could peek out the window, call the cop, boom, both sides of the streets are blocked off, fucking helicopters running through. I mean, this could easily end in contact with police. Because it's not like you just got in, whoop, and you're gone. This takes time.
Already expected this to happen. I just didn't think my day was going to come that day, but it did, and that's just what happened.
That's Jawan Bishop's reaction after watching these videos of thieves steal his Dodge Charger this week. After they break a rear window, they're able to essentially put this Dodge in neutral. You can see one person running behind the car to push it into the street. Others join, and then he says they use another stolen car to push his down the road, where they tried to program it with a new key.
It's ridiculous. It's crazy.
He says he's heard of this trend, but never expected to catch it on video.
But the key is to slow them down while your other security measures are in place.
Steve Lobello says he's seen this method before with Dodges, amongst the most often targeted.
I get a lot of calls and people are like, what do you mean they can push my car away? It's that fast.
He showed us how easy it is to program a new key, and he did it in about 90 seconds.
When you're done, success. Step on the brake, bye-bye.
He tells clients to use multiple security methods, searching for new devices that aren't common on the market yet. And he says after hundreds of installs,
we haven't had one person get past the PIN code yet.
And he has the videos to prove it. Customers sent him these videos, thieves trying to steal a car unsuccessfully.
That's the walk of shame.
Bishop got his car back a few blocks from his home since he has GPS tracking and other security measures.
At the end of the day, I'm just really grateful that I managed to get my car back because unfortunately, not a lot of other people are fortunate to get their car back.
But he says this experience is enough to drive him to try something new, looking for something less likely to attract thieves. In River Grove, Sarah Maki, CBS 2 News.
A police report is now been filed after a child brought a gun to a Lawrence Township elementary school this week. District officials say their parent put the weapon in the student's backpack and forgot it was even there. Fox 59's Eric Graves looks into the consequences this parent could now face.
It's not very often that I don't have the words.
Julie Questenberry, the president of the Indiana School Resource Officers Association, says she is shocked to hear a parent left a gun in a student's backpack.
We cannot continue to get the easy things wrong. And that is an easy thing.
A statement from Lawrence Township Schools says a Mary Castle Elementary parent stored a gun in her student's backpack Monday and neglected to take it out, leading to the student bringing the gun to school Tuesday.
If you're responsible enough to purchase a gun, you should be responsible enough to know where it is and to secure it at all times.
Man, to think about a parent putting their child in that situation is pretty rough.
Joe Garrison is a Mary Castle parent. He got an email from the school Wednesday explaining what happened. In the letter, the Mary Castle principal says a different parent...
Okay, they're not going to tell us who did this shit. Let's see Baltimore, man. Let's check up in...
You think that parent put that gun in that backpack?
Yeah, forgot about it. He probably was tearing the house up looking for it. I don't know for what reason, or I don't know, but I could see that. I could see that have happened, but it could be something else too. Could have been another reason, another story. But let's see what else is going on. What's going on? Be more.
There have actually been 2 investigations, one in 2018 that found deplorable conditions, and a follow-up last November that determined nothing had changed.
The conditions are inhumane, absolutely unjust, and honestly unconscionable.
Elizabeth Hill.
Look at this glider woman bitching about the conditions at the county jail, at the youth detention center in Baltimore County.
The acting director of government relations for the Office of Public Defender, is talking about the living conditions of kids jailed at the Baltimore County Detention Center. An investigation by a division of the Public Defender's Office finds children are locked up for as many as 23 hours a day in rat-infested cells that regularly flood with contaminated toilet water and debris.
And almost all.
But you know they intentionally flood the cells, right? Who knows that? Hit one if you know that. That's like a way to that's like a protest when they intentionally
That's playtime to get out of the cell.
Yeah. That's something they do intentionally.
Everybody act like they mad, but for real, it's a party.
Exactly. And now for the record, the rat infested, I mean, yeah, that's a problem because rat feces has a lot of diseases in it, and even rat urine. So yeah, that's a problem. But the flooding of this, they do that. What else did she say was wrong with it?
Office finds children are locked up for as many as 23 hours a day.
Yeah. Why you think they would lock a kid up for 23 hours a day? Just because he's black? I mean, come on. Behavioral issues, man.
And rat-infested cells that regularly flood with contaminated toilet water and debris.
And almost all of these children are being held in what amounts to solitary confinement because they don't have the resources. This facility doesn't have the ability to do anything other than hold them.
Because there's so many son teens getting arrested, that is overloaded the criminal justice system. when these gliders start up this criminal justice system, this complex, when a room full of gliders, I guarantee you there wasn't a sun person in the room.
Glider men.
Yeah, when they designed this facility, they didn't design it for just a fucking damn break.
Schools with fights of 200 people.
Yeah, just sons just coming in, and now you got so many sons that you just got to have some. All right, you guys, the worst ones, you just stay in your cell all day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can't even fucking deal. Like, and then the staff, like, this place is probably understaffed. Like, come on, man.
The public defender's office finds children are locked up for as many as 23 hours a day in rat-infested cells that regularly flood with contaminated toilet water and debris.
And almost all of these children are being held in what amounts to solitary confinement because they don't have the resources. This facility doesn't have the ability to do anything other than hold them for 23 hours. One of the children hasn't been outside in 2 years.
The Juvenile Protection Division probe also discovered juveniles sleep on floor mats. They have limited access to showers, wash their clothes in the cell sink. There's no schooling provided, no adult separation, no recreation, nor mental health services.
Well, the limited access to showers could probably be because when you let them out, there's probably a lot of violence. The sleeping on the floor mats is probably overcrowding. Washing your clothes in the cell sink, I mean, listen, man, like this.
It's all normal jail to me.
Yeah, it's just jail.
That's even in a white jail in the country.
Meanwhile, in Africa, they've got 7,000 inmates in a prison of 400 people.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, can you imagine? Like, you've done pieces on jail conditions in Africa. Can you imagine, to the extent that there's mass media in Africa, to the extent that there's people who sit down in the urban centers, at least, sit down and watch television, and there's something like a news program? Can you imagine a feature on Nigerian television, Senegalese television, bitching and whining about the conditions that the prisoners are subjected to, and they don't get to wash their feet, and they don't get to clip their toenails, and they don't get to comb their hair? Can you imagine that even being made a subject of complaint, of critique on television in that situation?
Nigerians would not. Nigerians would be like, good for them. That is good. It is jail. It is supposed to be like that. Like they have a different mindset about it. Like they're not American, so they have a good riddance type of mindset.
Gliders treat jail like it's supposed to be rehab, like Club Med or some bullshit.
Yeah, the rehabilitation is a glider.
Yeah, it works in glider countries in Europe.
Yeah.
It doesn't work on Sunteens.
Yeah, you can't rehabilitate. Now listen, I'm not gonna say can't, but rehabilitation is very, very difficult with us because we're different. You would have done whatever you would have put a gun in an old lady's face. Well, if we had guns, you would put a spear in an old woman's face and stolen her goat, and the town people would have caught up with you, and you would have been dead within hours, if not minutes. So you evolve to not even be alive at the time. These people wouldn't even be alive anymore during the evolution of sun people in sun places. So these people would already be dead. So it's like the whole thing of like feeding you one more meal after you've pushed the old lady down the steps and taken her purse. Feeding you
anything meal. But yeah. And the death march to take you to the place you commit the crime. The townspeople come to deal with you, and transporting you in the time it takes to transport you from where you did it to where you're going to meet your end. If no behavior toward the criminal on the part of the townspeople can be anything but vicious in that context, it would make no sense for anybody even to make, casual, friendly chit chat with the person on the way, knowing, well, you're going to die anyway. No, they wouldn't do it. The whole attitude is about everybody in the town is from 2-year-olds to 80-year-olds is celebrating and agreeing with the fact that this person is about to get sliced and diced and is going to scream and holler and is going to get hogtied and whipped and everything. And look at the oppositeness of the attitude just about how people talk in glider communities about, especially Sun people in incarceration. It's all about, are they taken care of? Are they okay? Were we sufficiently friendly to them? Did we violate their rights? It doesn't, they could have a rap sheet full of the most brutal, heinous acts and nobody is going to say a peep about it. You won't even know it if you watch the news programs. Every single thing that's said about it is, are we being nice enough to these guys? Are we giving them a raw deal? You know, it's like the shit runs deep.
Yeah, it is. It's multicultural societies.
Is having on those children, right? But when you continue to subject someone to conditions like this, I mean, it's just really atrocious.
The Public Defender's Office is calling for the immediate transfer of detained youth. They outline concerns in a letter to Baltimore County Executive Johnny Olszewski's office. His press office provided us with a response writing, "Our administration is carefully reviewing the letter and the concerning allegations it raised. We will closely evaluate current policies and provide a thorough response."
Youth need care and not cages.
The OPD and youth advocates have rallied in Lawyers Mall in support of legislation they say would resolve the problem. The bill ends the practice of automatically charging kids.
Let's see this group, this motley crew right here. What is she doing down here? You're like the number, like if I'm cruising the mall for someone to carjack, and these are all the people that are getting out of their cars.
That's the women fishermen talk about.
You're the what? Her here. No, she's the first one I'm going for. But after that, her.
So to what, when you say that, to what extent is it in your mind, somewhere in the recesses of your mind, whether it's conscious or not, that part of the reason why those women are that kind of easy target is because you understand, you know, you're getting the same messaging they're getting, and you see them responding to that. You see how they respond to it. They affirm it. And what that messaging is that your skin is a force field.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
That white boy beside it. Look at the white boy.
Yeah,
he look like he be a skateboard or something. What's he doing there?
But here's the thing. The reason I'm.
But so in other words, as a Sun person, you already understand how those women are going to respond to your advances, to your overtures. You know that you've got an in because of the way that they're participating in society. Like, you understand that.
Well, no. Here's the thing, though. I think maybe that might be on a subconscious level. But on the conscious level, it's that, she ain't packing. Like, even in a democratic city, we don't think any white person is packing. But you just know she's not packing. If she pulled out a gun and shot you and produced the gun and pointed at you, you'd have a heart attack and you'd die of a heart attack before she shot you. So this woman she's not packing. She doesn't have a knife. She doesn't have bone density, she doesn't have muscle mass, and she's not from a place where violence is something that she could react to in any way. So she's going to be the easiest. I'm not saying that I couldn't take this woman's car either. I'm not saying that I couldn't take her purse either. I'm just saying that in my mind, if I'm looking at this crowd, this woman's got a son or a nephew that's a fucking hoodlum or a thug, and she kind of like knows a little bit about it. I'm looking at this person, they have no fucking clue about the dredges and the depths of the shit.
Plus, truth be told, the older black lady, she's gonna size you up just like she would me, because I look like a redneck. I look like, a rough looking white dude. She's going to do the same thing to you, whereas the white lady is going to, she's going to be more welcoming.
Yeah, but
she's not allowed to size you up.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. The older black lady can, because she doesn't live with the parameters of racism. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. This white lady is riddled, and it oozes out of her pores and her mannerisms. Look how meekly she's standing. She fits not only all of those kinds of things that are obvious in terms of she's weak, she's unsuspecting, she's probably not packing a gun, but she fits the profile of the kind of person that's going to show up to something like this and advocate for the kind of person that's going to victimize her like that.
She's begging for social validation.
Yeah.
She wants to feel accepted, and she wants to feel like she's doing the right thing.
And everybody's getting, yes.
She doesn't understand that she's only gonna take herself further down a rabbit hole of self-destruction.
No, she's stuck, and this power structure is not built for her to survive or to do well or to be able to act reasonably on her instincts.
She's gonna do exactly what she was programmed to do, which is create a victim, which will be her.
Right, and I'm saying that the signaling that programs that into her mind, everybody's getting the same signals. Everybody knows that she knows that in order to be that good person that she desperately wants to be, she needs to, when she sees that melanin, she needs to stand down. Otherwise, it's not just the person that she's struggling against, it's the parameters, like you said, that she is bound to adhere to. And I think that whether it's not entirely conscious, it's not something that people think about when they victimize people, but you read it in her mannerisms, and everybody's getting the same messaging in society.
Advocates have rallied in Lawyers Mall in support of legislation they say would resolve the problem. The bill ends the practice of automatically charging kids accused of serious crimes as adults, but that legislation remains stuck in committee.
You don't put a butterfly Band-Aid on a gaping wound, right? The change needs to start with the law. It needs to start here in Annapolis, and it needs to start now.
Youth advocates have been trying to change the law for more than a decade, but that bill and similar legislation in the Senate both remain stuck in committee. Reporting from Annapolis, David Collins, WBAL TV 11 News.
Wow, what a strange fucking city, man. Whew.
And that's right. Police are still looking for the shooter tonight, and Carter's mother is asking anyone with any information to come forward. She said her son was a caring person and that it still doesn't feel like he's gone.
And it was like, I'm just still waiting I'm still waiting to see him. Like, it doesn't feel real at all. Like, not even a little bit.
Michelle Hines is the mother of 16-year-old Isaiah Carter. On Monday, police say that someone shot and killed Carter in the Joseph Lee Playfields area near Patterson High School, where he was a student.
He was just so giving, and he was so caring. He was so listening. Every step of the way, he was trying to make improvement.
Hines tells 11 News that there was an altercation with Carter and some other kids a few months ago, so she was already concerned about his safety.
I begged the school, I begged staff. I said I want to know that my son is going to be safe.
Joyce Johnson says she cared for Carter as her grandson.
He was humble. He was nice and humble. He would do anything he could for you. He would come down my house. Miss Joyce, you want me to do anything for you? And he was one of genuine good kids.
She thinks we all need to do more to prevent teens from being murdered.
If you can't send your children to school without something happening to them, without them coming home, I really, truly don't know. And it's not just one person. I can't blame it on the mayor. I can't blame it on the commissioner, because it's not just one person. Everybody have to come together.
Carter and his father worked at Forno Restaurant and Wine Bar in downtown Baltimore. Thursday night, the restaurant hosted an extended happy hour, and 20% from anything bought will go to Carter's family.
It's just really sad, the situation. I mean, these are babies killing each other, and it keeps happening, and it needs to be brought to light.
Isaiah's name is going to be one that is not forgotten, because I'm not going to let it be forgotten.
Those son sisters seem to be taking this well, though. Like, I mean, what do you think about that, Fabian? The fact that, don't get me wrong, there was some consternation there, but they seem to take it very well.
They're good with it.
They take this like it's not like what you would think, like that boy's dead. You would think that it would be, you know, a bigger deal, but it could be the fact that like it happened so much, man.
Yeah, I
I
think
try
it's.
and
I think it's. No, you go ahead.
go ahead. I was just going to say, I try and give them the benefit because of the shock value when you see these interviews that people are in shock.
Right,
But
right.
sometimes, like the gatherings at the funerals, it's almost like, yeah, it's a celebration of life, but it's just like all the women, the support system, it's like they're all good for it. And it's just like, okay, it's her turn now. Let's go, let's go help her out and support her because next month it'll be my turn instead of just standing up to stop, young black men from being killed because nobody wants to stop it. Everybody likes it, apparently. Nobody will say the damn truth. But
Yeah, I think
this
it's
channel,
right. I think it's both at the same time. It's one of those things where it's hard to place the chicken and the egg between, the nurture aspect and the nature aspect. The fact that people respond seemingly casually to high volumes of death, and also the fact that I think you could reasonably say that the psychology and the kind of instinctive expectations in terms of and the understanding, the feeling about life and death, the difference between life and death, and the significance of a person and a person's life, how those things kind of evolve in populations. I think that you do you can kind of see patterns with that. If you look at like how massively people reproduce and how sort of reproductive behavior in Africa has tended to be for the entirety of the
Or with
evolution
her,
of this
if you
gene pool.
notice, she had a different last name than her son, right? And that's a
Yeah, sure.
common
And yeah,
thing with all these stories.
right.
The mother never has the same last name as the son.
Right. It's typical. So yeah, you can say like, well, these are environmental factors, but they derive from, I think, hardwired tendencies.
Yeah, the father, the mother father relationship is for breeding, not for raising, not for rearing.
Yeah.
In some communities. Let's see this one.
At least 9 of the 10 students once walked the hallways here. Now they want to see other students take a similar path to success. From the classroom to the real world, this group has all remained focused on career and wealth building. They're members of a newly formed organization called the SYP Foundation Incorporated.
SYP Foundation, it stands for Stack Your Paper. We believe in using money as a tool just to give back to the community and be a resource to gain financial freedom.
And that's exactly what's taking place. These men are using their resources to help a total of 6 students, 3 in public high schools in Baltimore County and Baltimore City, and 3 for current HBCU students to graduate and to become successful by providing them with $1,700 and $300 scholarship awards.
Surprisingly, we got together over the summer of 2020, and we said we were going to do a scholarship. That meeting turned from 45 minutes to 3 hours, and we came out saying we were going to be a foundation.
The group formed a relationship back in high school, and they've stayed in touch ever since.
At Western Tech, we were focused on going to college, starting careers, but we didn't want to reach our heights in our careers to give back. We wanted to start it right away.
It's just kind of a reflection of ourselves, like looking back and how when I was in high school, applying for scholarships, applying to college, trying to get to the next steps. I'm just trying to help somebody else, paying it forward, giving my hand to the next hand.
The SYP scholarship does not focus on a grade point average or a college essay. Instead, applicants must submit a 2 to 3 minute video explaining what financial empowerment means to them.
It feels so good.
And you know what? I think that's good because it is easier. Some people we're better at oration and things dealing with charisma. That is something that we're better at than a test or an essay. You get a question and you got to write about an essay. We're better at that. And I think that this is them subconsciously, gearing the because all these guys went to college and seem to have done very well for themselves. gearing the requirements to what they subconsciously know are some students' strengths, right, Fabian?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think there should be all kinds of room for some people to be able to explore, to be honest with themselves, not about capacity, higher or lower, but just different strengths, and to explore those and build institutions for themselves on the basis of those strengths, and push the limits of that, push the parameters, and push their capacities for sure.
Yeah.
But
Even
it's
the
very
name
fulfilling
Stack
that
Your
we all
Paper
came
is
together to
catchy.
pull our resources.
What?
Even that name Stack Your Paper, that's catchy to get, young black men to get,
Of
they
course.
find out it's a way,
And I promise you that they didn't even probably do that consciously. This is just
Yeah,
you
being
got them
real.
all in a room. You got all these guys in a room. They said they got in a room together, and before, and their collective minds came up with this. There's no white people in the room, so it doesn't even have to be catchy about Stack Your Paper. This is just their collective mind, and they said, you know what? If we go on GPA and essays, we're not going to we're going to miss out on some kids. We're going to miss out on a lot of kids that might, need that, because obviously we just did a story the other day. What is it, 23 schools where no kids were proficient in reading or math? Why would you then, if you're some brothers trying to help and reach back into the community, require people to have high GPAs and be able to fucking answer essay questions in a way that's competing with other essays? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and unless somebody comes around and gasses them up that it's a problem, they're not going to worry. I don't think they're going to be that worried about the fact that they're not then going into professions that require those skills, because they're not inclined toward them.
Yeah, exactly, man. So I think this is actually great. This is great that these brothers are doing, man.
Basis that when we give those scholarships back to those students, how are they responding? How are their families reacting when they actually have a tangible item to say, someone that is helping us pay for go to school. So it's just a blessing.
The long-term goal is to expand the scholarship to see more students go to college. And for that to happen, they're looking for more supporters. On the campus of Western School of Technology, Tim Tootin, WBAL.
The main problem I have is like being a good orator. What does that get you going through college? I mean, what job are you going to get?
Well, you could be a news anchor, you could be a sports anchor, you could be a singer, you could be an
but you're
announcer.
looking at jobs that 1 out of every 10,000 people get.
Well,
Like
hold
you're not
on,
talking about like
hold
an
on.
accountant
Time,
or
time,
an
time, time,
engineer
time.
where there's a lot of
Let me
different
stop you.
positions.
Let me stop you. We go around the country to Little Rock, Boise, Des Moines, a billion cities every day, and they all have their fucking anchors and their reporter in the field. They all have this and that, and they're mostly always black, right? So there's plenty of jobs in that shit. What are you talking about?
But how many anchors do you think there are? Like maybe 2,000, 3,000 guys that are actually show up on TV?
Okay, but here's my thing. That's just one avenue. There's other ways where your oration and your ability to, improvise and present and bend language or whatever. I don't know what you would
Yeah,
call it, but
like a lot of them guys behind the scenes that support those anchors, they all need to be able to write stuff and research stuff.
Well, I mean, these guys can present. These guys will be able to create a 2-minute piece that you see it all the time, like in every. All right, let's. I get what you're saying, but I mean, I think that there's plenty of avenues where your oration, your ability to, be a supreme orator, or to be somebody who can, use their charisma, and things like that. There's plenty of jobs that for that.
Well, today, police officers in the Hermanos Mios youth program were at Patterson High School to meet with students. Meantime, city leaders just a few miles away were meeting to discuss how to address the spike in youth violence.
First it's a fight, then before you know it, there's picking up a gun, and before you know it, unfortunately, she's using that gun.
Baltimore leaders came together Wednesday to discuss the city's progress bringing down crime, calling attention to youth violence.
Recently, there's been a spike in young people, particularly around our public schools.
See, here's the thing that annoys me about this spike. It's the same thing that annoys me about the year. Like for instance, Baltimore, you had 350 murders in 2022. Let's just say that, right? This year, if they have 339, they'll brag about it without thinking that damn near 700 people have been killed in the last 24 months. That's not a victory that in the second 12-month period of that 24 months, 11 less were killed.
Yeah,
How often do these same people pretend that the youth, that this is something new? That, I mean, I'm almost 49 next week. It's always been 16, 17, 18-year-olds that do the killing. It's always been that way.
Exactly. And in this whole spike in youth crime, there's no spike in youth crime. It's out of fuck. This same news story is done every 2 months. Every month, every week, every time we come to Baltimore, it's the same story. There's a spike in youth. What are you talking about? A spike on top of the last spike? It just is what it is.
Council members asking.
Go ahead, man.
But what they're going to end up doing is they talk all this good talk so they can get more money. But remember, you guys did a video like last week.
Man.
You guys did a video last week where you found out how much they were spending on these schools. Somebody's embezzling the fucking money. Like you have $24,000 per kid. Do the math.
Well, yeah.
You got 30 kids in a room, 25 kids in a room. That's like $600,000 a classroom.
Yeah. I mean, we know that people are stealing the money. That goes without saying.
Police Commissioner Michael Harrison about how his force is working with city schools.
We're in constant conversations and collaboration with the school police on an everyday basis about deployment strategies, visibility, who's not in school.
Deployment strategies and visibility. So the fact that these students need to see police, that's a big part of it. If they have to make sure that the kids are constantly seeing police. And it's just amazing that we have this and the other narrative working at the same time. It's bizarre, man. They literally saying this. Like think about it. What he just said, somebody got the shit playing in the background. But what he just said is he literally just said visible. Like, if a white person said that, man, we need to make sure that these young black teens see police everywhere they go during the school day. While they're going to and from school, just to keep them in line. That person would fucking never work again.
Oh yeah, that would be an act of stochastic terrorism, man.
It's just insane.
But they're not even gonna go. Like, could you imagine being a white cop trying to stop any kid in these schools? Yeah, man, I would just freaking call in and be like, I got a 1619. Somebody freaking send Shaniqua in here. I ain't going in.
It ain't no better for the black cops. They catch hell too.
Yep.
About how his force is working with city schools.
We're in constant conversations and collaboration with the school police on an everyday basis about deployment strategies, visibility, who's not in school, what do we collectively need to do, where we need to be, and when we need to be there.
This after 16-year-old Isaiah Carter was shot and killed at a park near Patterson High School.
This is a tragedy, right? This is a tragedy what happened to this kid. A good kid.
Miguel Rodriguez is a chair member for the Hispanic Organization of Leadership Advancement, or OLA, and a Baltimore City police detective. The program's mentorship division met with students at Patterson High School Wednesday to listen and offer emotional support. Rodriguez says it'll take more community members stepping up to help at-risk youth to end the violence.
A lot of folks today, they need to get involved with their local schools and their community. They need to do it. You don't need to have a son. You don't need to have a daughter that are involved there. You need to get involved because that school is part of your community.
And do
They say
what
the investigation
exactly? You know what I mean? Like, if you don't have a kid, like, if you're a single man shows up to a school that has no kid, like, I really want to help these kids and be around them. Like, how freaking weird is that? What are you supposed to do?
Just imagine if, like, this phrase, like, at-risk youth, just imagine what it would be like, how different the world would be just by changing the phrase at-risk youth to heartless, violent killers. Because that's what you're talking about.
That ROTC uniform that the young man that died wearing, that could lead to his death. Could be clowning him like, oh, you're a square, you with the white people. My daughter went to school like that and did that and was accused, you know, like people, and that right there can lead, for a young black man, that can lead to an argument or other son teens picking on him and escalate. That's something that's
Joining us now is Heather Warren.
Nah, you're right. You're 1,000% right about that. You're 1,000% right about that. It could have been something surrounding that.
Joining us now is Heather Warren.
close
She
to the
is
school.
the executive director of the Center for Criminal Justice Reform at the University of Baltimore. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Thank you for having me.
Certainly. We had the city state's attorney on, and I'm just reading through some of your remarks, and you think when it comes to this bill, you called it misguided and harmful, and I'm curious of why.
Sure. I want to start by saying I could not agree more that addressing gun violence, including the growing number of illegal firearms in our communities, must be of utmost priority. We just do not believe that this bill, this strategy is a way to get effectively at that problem. And I want to start by saying that not only do we believe it will not be effective, but also that it comes with great risk of actually undermining public safety, of making that violence worse.
When you talk to Mr. Bates, you get the feeling that he feels like law as it stands right now does not have teeth. And he feels like those who are offenders know the way around it. So let's say you get 3 years and you know you're only going to give 8 months, that it sort of works in their favor. What do you think when he says that if they're not teeth there, we got to add a little bit more so they take the crime seriously?
The evidence base just simply does not support that theory. There is a large and growing body of evidence that lengthening sentences is not an effective way to deter crime. And actually another...
Go ahead, Fisherman.
Oh my God. What do you do with that?
I mean, like,
right.
This woman is pleading. Again, this is why when I say they demanded this, a couple years from now, this woman, she's gonna get like clocked upside the head or something, carjacked or something, and we're gonna be like, she demanded this. And this is what I'll be talking about, guys, when I say they didn't ask. She's not asking for this. This is a demand for less sentences. She's pleading for lighter sentences for thugs in Baltimore County. Like Fabian said, violent psychopaths that discharge guns wantonly and recklessly in public spaces over tweets. You know what I'm saying?
No, but see, the problem is you just don't understand the evidence base. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't, I mean, it's easy enough for people like us to sit around, like, you know, and hypothesize about these things, but she's referring to science. She's referring to studies. She's referring to, you know, very, very prestigious information that's backed by studies and evidence. And so I think we just really need to kind of have a little bit of humility and sit back and kind of stay in our lane and leave these things up to the people who are doing these studies and collecting this evidence. You know what I'm saying?
She's really, really smart, and smart people are ruining America.
Evidence that lengthening sentences is not an effective way to deter crime. And actually, another groundbreaking report on this exact topic came out the day that we filed our written testimony. So again, I think that the fervor and the literature behind that is only growing. The other thing that has been clear about the supporters of this bill's talking points is a kind of a faulty set of assumptions about how deterrence works. There's a big difference in the certainty of apprehension and some consequences versus the severity of those consequences. And currently,
is she talking about something like you're talking about, Fabian? Like, is she saying that the son mind? Maybe she's talking about the son mind. Look, no matter what the sentence is, in that moment, if he wants it or he's feeling disrespected, he's going to act on that impulse. Is that what she's saying? Might that be what she's saying?
I don't know. I didn't quite catch it. I was distracted for a second.
Okay, I'm gonna let you hear.
Of this bill's talking points is a kind of a faulty set of assumptions about how deterrence works. There's a big difference in the certainty of apprehension and some consequences versus the severity of those consequences. And
because she's talking about 100% almost son teens that she's dealing with, the population she's speaking about. Could she be talking about that? Like look, these people are different.
It could be because, well, she's definitely doing she's talking a bit about psychoanalysis. What she's saying is, confirm that I'm getting it right. What she's saying is that in the minds of people that are committing these acts, the fact that they're definitely going to get apprehended weighs differently on them than the consideration of the severity of what's going to happen to them when they're apprehended.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she's saying. So where's she going with that?
I think she's saying, like I said earlier, once you got apprehended for this where these people's genes and their DNA evolved, that was it. Apprehension was it.
So she's saying, that the certainty that you're going to get apprehended is going to deter them much more than considerations of how long they're going to be. Oh, definitely.
There's no PIP. There's no sentence. There was no jail.
What makes criminals brazen is because they think they can get away with it, not because they think that they're going to do less time.
Yeah,
the lie that she's saying is it's actually both. I mean, let's be completely honest. If you knew you were going to get apprehended and do a day in jail, what's that?
Exactly.
It's both. But what that's what I mean. You have to watch with how these criminologists play with the numbers and their methodology and their studies. Because, like, for instance, they'll say, oh, there's a whole bunch of people in jail just for drugs. It's like, or they had drugs. It's like, yeah, well, did he shoot up a store with marijuana in his pocket? Like, looking at all the charges and saying 70% of them are drug charges. But that's because they had some weed on them when they were doing something way more violent, and that's their methodology. They don't dig deep into the numbers.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm asking, like, what's her angle here? Because, like, yeah, you can make a statement like that on its face, it's like, okay, it's true, it makes sense, but usually these kinds of statements are deployed simply to erode the capacity of law enforcement to work, or various things like that. So I'm wondering what exactly she's pushing for with this,
Go ahead, Mayo. Mayo, you got the floor.
She's conflating. She's talking about deterrence, but in the guise of the crime's already been committed. It doesn't make sense.
What do you mean?
How can you deter a crime that's already been committed?
I think what she's saying is that the certainty that you're going to get apprehended is more of a deterrent than a consideration of the severity of the punishment. Isn't that what she's saying?
Yeah, that's like me saying, like, if I go rob Mayo, I know I'm going to get my head blown off. But if I think I have like a 99% chance that he's not going to be in the house, I'm going to go rob his house.
It's like this.
Of me committing the crime, like if I had 100% that I knew I was going to face some kind of penalty, but what she's not saying is that the deterrent is also the severity. So, like, if I rob a dude's house and it's like, all he's gonna do is throw, like, I don't know, like a dish at me or a fork or something, I'm gonna do it. Like if I know he's gonna, it's both.
No,
It's
but
both at the same
here's the
time.
thing. It's like this. It's like if you cheat on your girl, when you're out cheating on your girlfriend and you're out at a hotel or wherever you're cheating, getting caught. Say she finds a number in your pocket while she's doing your laundry. Getting caught. Yeah, every guy's scared. That's why he's cheating. That's why he's tiptoeing around. That's why he's sticking around. But when you do get caught, if your girl's like mad for a day and she's giving you the silent treatment for a day, and then a day later it's okay, you're gonna cheat on her again more so than if your girl
Oh, hell yeah.
puts all your shit on the front lawn and sets it on fire. You know what I'm saying? When she takes you back, you're gonna less likely to cheat on her.
I mean, basically, to me, it just sounds like regardless of the merit of the argument that she's making, it just sounds like at the end of the day, she's just trying to get sentences reduced.
Exactly.
That's just
The
pandering.
severity of those consequences. And currently, there's actually not certainty in consequences due to systemic deficiencies. But in order to achieve that,
Oh, there it is, right there.
like probation
Get
and
out.
non-custodial approaches are a far more effective response than giving people longer terms of prison and jail.
Give us the alternative as you look at this holistic approach, because you talk a lot about the trauma that may come from being away from your family from a long time, or not being able to see your loved ones, and missing that connection and what it happens down the road. So if you had the magic pen and you wrote the law yourself, tell me about how the consequences would work.
Absolutely. Well, I want to focus on what I think is the most effective thing that we can and should be doing, which is bringing public health approaches to this problem. This is really about what are the alternatives? How do we most effectively address the problem that we're actually trying to solve with gun violence and the reason people pick up the guns in the first place? So we lay out a long list of alternative.
Let me help you out, lady. The reason people pick up the guns in the first place is because it's an easy way to kill the guy that you want to kill. Like I want to kill that guy, and of all the options, this one was the most efficient and most effective.
At least the dude asked a real question. Like she's giving a bullshit answer, but I'll give him credit.
It's like, okay, well, he probably already knew exactly what these questions and these answers have been given so much. It's like a script. I'm sure he knew exactly what the scripted answer was going to be. And it's all nonsense. It's all gobbledygook. It's just squid ink. It addresses everything except the reality of the situation.
Yeah, we already and we heard the watchwords: public health and gun in the same sentence, and also the systemic bullshit.
Non-custodial measures.
Yeah. I mean,
do you think she would admit that the average 13-year-old in the hood knows what a Glock switch is, and maybe like 25% of them know how to operate a gun with a Glock switch? I mean,
that's because that's just because he has not had sufficient access to mental health interventions.
Right.
Yeah, because therapy will fix the black community. Just ask him.
Yeah.
He needs a massage.
It's all that slave era trauma. It's all that slave era DNA induced trauma.
Yeah,
exactly. And you carry it in your muscles. And if you look at the race disparity in access to massage therapy, you'll see it right there.
Yeah, she doesn't understand that. Like, she doesn't understand the people. This is what I was talking about earlier. She doesn't understand the people she's talking about. The
hood is a massage parlor desert.
But she's the foremost expert on black people in this. They call the news station has her on. She's a professor at some university. So she's
and this university is in Baltimore, man.
Yeah, she's an expert.
Baltimore is their laboratory, and nothing they've promoted in the last 20 years has done anything to help.
Change the battle plan, man.
But she's not. I don't think she's really interested in any of that. I think she's probably just
I think they like
kind of narcissistic, and her job, the
Yeah.
way that she displays prestige, is to repeat the shit that has been told to her is the prestigious shit to say. That's what she's
probably
doing.
just looking. She's probably doing this for her career. Tell you the honest to God truth.
This is her job. How much money? Yeah, how much money does she get to go on TV and repeat this shit? Like, this is just like academic university bullshit 101, and she's just like spewing it. Like, we've heard this shit before, and it has nothing to do with reality. But her job doesn't have anything to do with addressing reality. She comes on the show. She probably, if she's a professor, she repeats the shit to her students. She comes on TV, repeats the shit on TV. She gets a paycheck. She goes home. She's comfortable. She watches TV. She drinks her wine. She pets her cats. You know, rinse, repeat.
Well, and the Bureau of Prisons study completely debunks what she's saying about what criminals are afraid of and what they're not afraid of.
Yeah, they're definitely afraid of time. Here's my thing, though. If I was to come on here and talk about meerkats or fucking Gila monsters or any kind of fucking animal, fucking prairie dog, if I was an expert, if I was touting myself as an expert on that, and I had no clue about prairie dog, like I didn't have the I didn't know why they barked. I didn't know why they fucking stayed in their holes. I didn't know how they dug their holes. I didn't know anything about that. But the news channel brought me on as an expert on prairie dogs. It would be fucking insane. The only time they get to be experts on some shit that they know absolutely nothing about, the actual subject.
How did she become an expert? By reading a list of books her professors gave her.
Yeah. Because
Right.
That's her qualification.
Criminology is like a derivative of sociology. It's a soft bullshit science.
Yeah.
And basically what it is all the people like her. So what you're saying, Ak, is that I understand what you're saying, but everybody that's like her thinks this way. So it's like other professionals are just, it's like a confirmation bias.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not getting
It's a
any
hive mind.
pushback. Yeah, it's
a hive mind.
Like, it's
Right.
a soft
And
science.
This
And
was
when
taught
her and
30
people
years
like-
ago to me in community college. I've got an associate in criminal justice. This was taught in the early 90s by leftists. I had never even known there was people like this in Ohio until my professors were all telling me, you know, to get this new style of policing. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, the cowboy sheriffs where I'm from will just whip your ass. Like, I don't play with them, you know?
Yeah, and when people going around repeating this shit for years and decades does nothing whatsoever to stop crime, then the next part of the script is just to say, like, well, we haven't done enough about systemic racism. We haven't done enough about the root causes. We haven't,
Another chapter. Just go to another
We haven't
chapter.
fixed that massage desert yet.
Yeah, let me
whatever it is.
Solutions in our written testimony, and I'll name just a couple of them. I mean, one, improving trust between police and community. You know, I know we have a very long way to go at work, and when people who are carrying guns for protection or out of fear or in a very well documented response to the trauma that they have already experienced related to gun violence, and they don't trust that when they pick up the phone to call law enforcement, that entity will protect them or will not harm them. There's a real problem there. So I think there's
So it's the cops' fault that they're killing people.
Yeah, it's the cops' fault that a guy with a felony record, as long as a CVS receipt, has a gun and is afraid to call the cops.
Yeah, but the bigger issue is she claims that it works, but then she says there's a long way to go. So where's your data that it works? If you've got no data saying that even works, and I'm not even saying that I'm not saying it would. I'm just saying they just draw bullshit conclusions from nothing.
Even any study based in the last 4 years, if you ask a criminal about is getting time a deterrent, they're going to say no because they're not getting time.
Exactly.
a lot of work that would be effective there. I also think how we treat victims and witnesses of violence. Now, this is something very much in the purview of the state's attorney's office. I actually led an assessment for the city of Baltimore on how victims of violent crime are treated, focused on Black and Brown victims of gun violence. And there are just many deficiencies there, many opportunities to change our approach and improve access to services in ways that are effective at reducing the risk of that person's future victimization and reducing the risk that that person will later pick up a gun and harm someone else. So those are just two. There are many other alternate strategies as well.
My God.
Yeah, the first one being moving the hell out of Baltimore.
Amen. As soon as someone even says Bracken Brown anymore, I just know they're a bullshit artist, because that's a bullshit. Like there's some Bracken Brown Mexicans
it's like
all of a sudden
buzzword.
like black folks. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Black and Brown, Latinx, Latinx,
Right. Any of
whatever
those
the fuck.
words tied in with the
BIPOC,
Mexicans and all that. I don't
BIPOC,
mess with them.
systemic. They don't even know what systemic means anymore. They
Yeah.
just fucking say it.
These white people are gonna take us to hell, y'all. And I am white. It's horrible, man.
Yeah, man.
Oh, believe me, I want to choke the shit out of her too.
I mean, just the way she pronounces her words, Mayo, like just gets inside of my skin. Like I know what Fisherman's talking about. It makes my neck like set on fire, man.
On that note, man, guys, man, great show, man. I'll see you guys later, man. Peace out.
All right, Doc.
Y'all have a good one.
All right, guys.